years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump rolled to victory on Saturday in South Carolina in a contest that saw former Florida Governor Jeb Bush drop out of the race, while Democratic hopeful Hillary Clinton beat back against a strong challenge from Bernie Sanders in Nevada. The victories by Trump and Clinton solidified their positions as the frontrunners to win their parties' respective presidential nominations ahead of the November 8th elections. Bush suffered a distant fourth-place finish in the Republican contest and announced he had suspended his campaign, ending his dream of becoming a third Bush president after his father and his brother. By winning both South Carolina and New Hampshire and holding leads in the 11 states that vote on March 1st, Trump was arguably on track to win the nomination, an outcome that seemed astounding to contemplate when he got into the race late last summer. He easily defeated Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who were in a close fight for second and the right to declare themselves the anti-Trump alternative. Meanwhile, Clinton's victory in the Nevada Democratic Caucus could help calm Democratic Party worries about the strength of her campaign. Her win denied Sanders the breakthrough win he had sought in a state with a heavy minority population, but his ability to close a one-time double-digit polling lead for Clinton suggests the Democratic nominating race will be long and hard-fought. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports President Barack Obama urged a group of Democrat governors to allow citizens to participate in democracy, quote, the way our founding fathers intended, unquote, by making voting as easy as possible. While speaking at the Democratic Governors Association meeting on Friday, the president said he would focus this year on protecting the right to vote. Obama said the job of our democracy is to make it easier, not make it harder for our citizens to be able to vote, and we need to be modernizing voting to reflect the way that people live today. Obama cited a law in his home state of Illinois that will go into effect this year and expand early voting, allowing voters to register and vote on Election Day. Obama said this is about more than just creating economic opportunity. It's about preserving the rights and opportunities of generations of Americans that have fought so hard to secure and broaden our democracy. It's about making democracy as good as it can be. He also praised the adoption of automatic voter registration in Oregon and California as examples of changing the voting process to reflect a modern way of life. He said in Oregon alone, they're hoping to register 300,000 voters this year, and so I'd encourage your steps to take a look at the proposal that they've put forward. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after accidentally clicking like on nearly 400 of his ex-girlfriend's Facebook photos earlier today, panicked area man Adam Nuensing spoke to Onion reporters about his mistake.
Damn it, I was just looking at one of Rebecca's Instagram photos that showed up on my newsfeed, and the next thing I know, I just liked every single photo that she posted over the last 4 years. I didn't mean to, but just kind of happened.
The 28-year-old told reporters that he had browsed through 14 of his ex-girlfriend's photo albums while inadvertently clicking like on each and every picture, including dozens from her office picnic last fall, her trip to New York in 2010, and a photo of her and her first boyfriend from 2006.
I thought if I went back and clicked unlike on all those pictures that maybe she wouldn't get any notifications, but then I saw some other albums and I ended up liking 80 more photos and shared them on my wall. Shit.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and something's wrong with my headphones. Welcome to the program here, live Sunday edition. I can hear now. I can hear clearly now.
Hallelujah.
The static is gone. And hopefully the same for you. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we're just getting back into Keene, New Hampshire, after having spent the last 3 nights broadcasting live from the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. What I consider to be an epic Liberty Forum. It was, it was great last year. It's great every year. But this year, they had Edward Snowden. And I think that now that we haven't gotten any of the official numbers, I know that you interviewed the president, the new president of the Free State Project last night, Mark. I don't know if you asked him the question of how many people attended Liberty Forum this year. I'd be interested to know, and I'd be interested to compare it to the year at which Ron Paul was the keynote speaker for the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. Now, for those who don't know, the Liberty Forum is basically a yearly convention that the Free State Project throws, the Free State Project being this movement of migration of 20,000 libertarians moving into New Hampshire. That the Free State Project throws yearly to just, kind of show off New Hampshire, even though it's the middle of winter when it happened. Actually, decent weather for the weekend. It was nice and warm today in the 50s. So they throw this forum, and they bring in special guest speakers from all over the place. And we've had John Stossel, and Ron Paul has been at these things. Let's see, who are some of the other biggies that they've had? Naomi Wolf, I believe, was there a couple of years ago. Wolf, right?
Jeffrey Tucker, David Friedman.
Yeah, those are probably names that are more inside the Liberty movement. But nonetheless, Ron Paul was like the biggest that I can remember. We had a full room, like a bunch of people came in just for Ron Paul. And that was at a different hotel, so it's kind of hard to compare, apples to oranges. This is we're at a new hotel now in Manchester instead of the one we were in Nashua. So they, slightly different sized convention spaces. Ron Paul was packed, standing room only. Snowden also packed, standing room only. The crowd really seemed to enjoy both of those speakers. So it'd be interesting, just out of curiosity, to see which one was more popular. So I was really, jazzed to see Edward Snowden, and I think the best part about his speech, well, not really, it wasn't really a speech, it was more of a discussion between him and Reason's Nick Gillespie, who came up from D.C. to basically moderate that conversation. My favorite part was actually the beginning, where the people in the crowd had all been given Snowden masks, so like a black and white artist's rendering of Edward Snowden's face, and on a stick, and you would hold it up in front of your face. They didn't have eye holes cut into them, so that was a little weird, but
it's just to put it in front of your face.
But it's just always creepy to have a room full of people holding masks up, and it's also kind of fun at the same time. So that happened, and when Edward Snowden saw that level of support, because, that's sort of like the I am Spartacus thing, I am Snowden.
Sure.
Basically, when he saw that, the smile on his face was pretty great.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was the best moment of it. The rest of it was fine and interesting, and there's video, but it's not yet available publicly, and I don't know when or where or how that's going to happen. I don't know if it's Reason.tv that's going to have an exclusive, or if it's Snowden himself who is going to release it. So we'll let you know as soon as that is available. Now, you're welcome to comment on Liberty Forum or anything that happens to be on your mind. Of course, there was also a primary over the weekend. I don't know. Did you guys follow that at all last night?
Yeah, we've covered it probably more than I would have liked to.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess it was Hillary up by 5% in the Nevada Caucus. She still hasn't won a primary yet. So call her the front runner if you wish, but she hasn't been able to beat Bernie in a primary. And
South Carolina's coming up.
She wasn't able to beat. She wasn't really sort of legit able to beat him in Iowa. Call that a tie.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Nevada, where she's supposed to have all these minority voters that think she's awesome or whatever the story is, I'm not entirely sure. She's up by 5 stinking % in a caucus where people have to go sit there for 2 hours and move around in corners of the room and, I don't know, pick the person who's going to have the nuclear codes. I mean, it just doesn't – none of it makes any sense to me.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the results yet. So, I'd heard who won, but I haven't seen the actual numbers to see if it was a trouncing when it came to Trump or whatever. I did hear Jeb Bush has dropped out of the race.
Yep.
So
Trump's up by a bit over – well, a bit under 10%, excuse me.
I'm pretty much, I was pretty much completely absorbed in the Liberty Forum event this weekend. So we're going to go to your calls, your thoughts. You can discuss whatever you want. Also, Venezuela, things are changing economically there. They've raised the fuel price by 6,000%. and they've devalued the bolivar. To what amount? We will find out here a little bit later on when we get the chance. But let's go to the phones first. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. To Rabia, calling from the Muslim Public Affairs Council. Rabia, you're on Free Talk Live, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, please let me know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's close. It's Rabia.
Rabia, hi there.
Yeah, hi.
You're on the radio.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. I was encouraged to call in today to let you all know about this challenge that our organization, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, basically announced yesterday, that we wanted Donald Trump to actually engage the American Muslim community, or a representative from our community, in a debate.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Now, this is the same candidate. Just make sure I'm recalling correctly. This is the same candidate who called to ban, was it all Muslims from coming into the United States?
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And that, as well as, registering American Muslims in the U.S., closing down mosques. The list goes on. And that's exactly why, we felt the need to do what we did yesterday and say, enough is enough. We're tired of being your punching bag, and we're tired of being bullied by you. And the only way to deal with the bully, in this situation, is to stand up to him. And so we hope that he hears our message and that he'll take us up on our offer, because it's quite serious.
How do you reach Donald Trump? I mean, do you call his office, the campaign? What's the way to try to get a message to him? Twitter?
Well, all of that, in any way possible that we can get his attention. But I think shows like yours, your callers, can also help us get the message out there. Because I think the only way he'll actually address it is if he gets follow-up questions on it from reporters. Otherwise, he may just ignore it. But that's kind of what we need your help with, as well as others.
Well, we don't talk to politicians generally here on Free Talk Live. I mean,
it gets the word out, and maybe some reporters will
right.
hear
We're
about
happy to point out how people can get the word out. So, is there a website people can go to see some news about this, or some links to what they can do to assist?
Yeah. No, and that's actually what I meant. Is just talking about it, tweeting about it, tweeting to Donald Trump. Yeah, exactly. I think tweets is probably the most.
Does Donald Trump use his own Twitter account?
You know what? I'm not sure, but from the way he talks, it sure sounds like him.
It sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure sounds like him.
So really ill-advised tweets have come out of that account.
Yeah.
So what is the website? Is it the Muslim Public Affairs Council website, or is there like a specific site for this?
No website. It's just a call. We issued a press release. We're going to be doing some media interviews around it, but you can definitely like our Facebook page, which is the Muslim Public Affairs Council, to get updates on this particular campaign. And just tweet Donald Trump and tell him, look, engage, debate American Muslims.
Right. We want you to debate.
Hashtag man up Trump.
Well, that's great. I think that's fantastic. And thank you for calling and sharing tonight. But does the Muslim Public Affairs Council have a website? Just curious.
It does. Yeah, it does. It's www.mpac.org.
Cool. Well, we'll go ahead and link that on our Facebook and Twitter. And I'm hoping Will Coley will be talking more about this, because he told me you'd be calling in tonight to talk about this. He's the host of Call to Freedom, great guy from Muslims for Liberty. And I know that Call to Freedom airs on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock Eastern on LRN.FM. So hopefully he'll be discussing this in greater detail. But Rabia, thank you for your call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you here on Free Talk Live. And good luck, too. I hope Donald Trump does man up in this case and debate someone from the Muslim community.
Yeah, a lot of people, I've gotten the critique on the Free Talk Live Facebook page. I manage that largely. Is it somehow that we're, a bunch of Muslim lovers or whatever?
I love Muslims, and I love
Muslims,
Christians.
I love Christians, I love everybody.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make here is it's not that I have any preference for Muslims or anything like that. It's just that I don't know that much about the Muslim religion, and I'm not scared of them, and it seems like there's a lot of scared people about Islam out there.
It's true, and a little bit of information about it can go a long way. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE if you want to join us.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-965-1170.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised. But hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-965-1170. That's 1-800-965-1170. 1-800-965-1170.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, veterinarian and naturopathic physician. The Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy with an important message. Take charge of your health. Do not continue to blindly follow the system that has failed us all. I appreciate GCN listeners because you're open-minded and intelligent. If our system is so great, why is it that the United States, the USA, ranks nearly 60th worldwide in longevity and #1 in obesity? All the while we spend more money than all the other countries combined annually on unnecessary healthcare procedures and toxic drugs. It doesn't take much to get on track. Not with the government or pharmaceutical companies, but rather you in control of your own health with a basic understanding of nutrition and supplementation. FDI Longevity has the finest quality health, sports, and energy supplements available. GCN listeners are invited to join our team of people who want to stay healthy well into old age. We are currently looking for specialists to represent FDI Longevity and Save America. To buy products at wholesale prices or join our business team, go to GCNteam.com. That's GCNteam.com. Support GCN. Get healthy.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Doing the live Sunday edition of the program, the post-Liberty Forum episode of the show. Wasn't the post-Liberty Forum episode last year like the most downloaded show ever? Wasn't it?
It's been some time. No,
I thought it was one of the Nick Gillespie.
Yeah, it was a
it was post Pork Fest.
Yeah,
because I know we've interviewed Nick Gillespie at the last couple of Liberty Forums. Nick Gillespie from Reason.com. We didn't know why the hell that one got so many downloads, but
I'm not entirely sure, but it was like the show after he was on, so I get the impression maybe he tweeted about us, and then I don't know. I mean, I know he tweeted. I saw him do it.
So anyway, you can join us online anytime you want. Just head over to freetalklive.com. And speaking of getting online, if you're not protecting your privacy, you can't expect anyone else to do it for you by default. You've got to take steps, and one of those steps should be ProXPN. They're a virtual private network, and they will encrypt your data right from your computer or a mobile device. They offer OpenVPN, the gold standard of network encryption. And they have apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there is Linux support as well. ProXPN also can help you change your DNS settings if you're a Windows user for even greater anonymity. They accept credit card and even Bitcoin. Plus, if you use code FTL50, you can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can end up being cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com now and use code FTL50 and take back the privacy that is your right. We're going to get into Venezuela here in the latest on the economic just disaster that is socialism. But first, back to the phones and to the fun. We go to Dave, listening in Eureka. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, how's it going today?
Hey, Dave, are we on KGOE tonight, or are you listening online?
Yeah, KGOE, 1480.
Excellent. Go ahead, sir.
I was just I thought I'd come from a more liberal perspective and give just a little bit pushback on Islam, because I think what we've done on the left is we've actually given the conversation to, I think it's our fault that we've given the conversation to the right, and like, you take a really extreme position on the right, but on the left it's like, no, we talk about colonialism when it comes to Islam and, some really bad stuff that we've done in the West, specifically America, as opposed to, well, let's talk about the issue here. And the issue is, hey, I'm really opposed to Islamism, not Muslims as people, but the some very hardcore ideology behind the belief. And I just want to make sure that on the left that we start engaging in that, because we don't. Instead, it's
I'm not clear. What are you opposed to?
Well,
I'm not sure I'm on the left, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a liberty-minded person, so I'm not on the left or the right. But yes, please go ahead. What is it that you find yourself opposed to? I'm presuming you believe you are speaking for liberals when you say we.
Oh well, I don't even speak for anyone, but I mean, having the conversation on the left, liberals, whether progressive, liberal, moderate, have in conversations. Generally, the conversations have a way of going that we need to lift up these people as a people and identify a belief system with the people, like Islam is now a race or something that's sort of sacred that we shouldn't discuss. And I think that's very wrong. Because
well, I think that absolutely that needs to be discussed. But what was it that you were uncomfortable about?
Well, I'm really uncomfortable with the idea that specific views in Islam or
whatever. I mean,
the fact that you can't leave Islam. The fact that you can't leave Islam without being. I mean, I say in the West, the best case scenario is being extremely ostracized. But most people, most places.
You mean
in the
from
world,
people? Just to be clear, wait, just to be clear, you're
within
saying that
within the old culture.
Okay, I got religion.
I'm not sure whose culture we're talking about here. I've known people who are Islamic.
When I say culture, I mean the religion.
Okay,
so
I've known people who are Islamic that choose to not be very, good practicers of Islam, or even just say, I don't believe this stuff, and everything's kind of gone fine with them in the United States.
When you say that, you mean they weren't ostracized by their former
some people
Islam
were and some
brothers?
people weren't, but that happens all the time in religious groups too.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. I mean, there are many religions, especially more cultish ones, who will turn out their members if they decide to leave the religion.
Try going to the United Methodist Youth Group and saying, "I don't believe in God." I mean, you're going to get a level of ostricism there.
But that's understandable. And I just left my faith a couple of years ago, more evangelical Christianity flavor, and I've definitely lost friends and stuff. But in Islam, and this is in the West as well, there's calls for hey, this is it, that's it. It's specific verses that say you must be killed. And when we
I don't think
act
so.
like, well, that's kind of racist, we shouldn't say that. This is a belief.
Can
recall
you show
that.
me one news story where this has occurred?
Yeah, I don't recall that at all. I mean, I've read the Quran. Have you read the Quran?
Yes, in America. That's where I'm concerned with. Obviously, there are some really backwater countries out there that are Islamic, but then again, there are backwater countries that are Christian too.
I mean, is the UK a backwater? This happens regularly. I'm not saying people are being beheaded in the UK because of it, but there's certainly calls for it.
I know that there are some radical clerics in the UK.
Right, just because
one of the reasons I think that the UK really has a problem with it with Muslims is their expansive and we'll call it progressive welfare state. So basically, you can go there, not work, and especially most importantly, your wife doesn't have to work because it's the wife getting out there and working in the community that then inculcates the ideas of equality and those kind of things that changes the family dynamic that then causes people to assimilate into a society. I think really what it comes down to is the welfare state is what is causing all the problems in Europe with the Muslims.
Yeah, I just want to come back real quick. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any response to that?
I mean, I definitely don't think it has to do. I mean, this again, being inside a religion. I was inside a religion for 25 years.
Me too.
And I know the ins and outs. I mean, so if you've been there, you know that there's certain things that, well, you know that's a belief, but it's not, and you know it's a really important belief, but you know that it's like, well, it's tamed down when we're not talking to Christians or not talking to Muslims or Jews or whichever religion we come out of. And again, I'm like I'm personally for the refugees. I'm for Syrian refugees coming in. I'm for a lot of liberal principles, but again, I want to push back against my evangelical fundamentalist friends in the same way that I feel, hey, it would be wrong of me to not do that with Islam.
But
it
sounds to me like you're wrong, though. I mean, you said that there's some sort of verse that authorizes killing people.
Muhammad says if anyone leaves the religion, he should be killed. Or he doesn't say that. It says if anyone changes their religion, they should be killed.
I don't believe that that's true.
So does that mean that I can't become a Muslim because I was a Christian?
I'm sorry?
Does that mean I can't become a Muslim because I was a Christian?
Anything. So I mean, so if you change anything, you're changing religions, right? If you become an atheist, that's a religion, right? I mean, people believe that that's a religion, and so you're changing. And the point is, I mean, again, this is in here.
Have you read the Quran?
I really thought. I'm sorry?
Have you read the Quran?
No, I haven't read the Quran.
Well, how do you know that there's a verse in there that says that?
Because I've looked it up.
You saw someone claim, okay, this verse is in the Quran, and you looked just to verify that the verse existed?
If you just, look.
Hold that thought. I want you to hang on here for a moment here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's my understanding that what he's saying is not true, that Islam, that there's some sort of instruction in the Quran to kill people who want to leave the religion. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Have you felt different almost your entire life? Like the way things are run never made any sense? They've tried to get you to believe that you couldn't handle making all of your own decisions, that your lives had to be governed by a set of rules based on punishing everyone for the mistakes of a few. It's been a long journey, but the Free State Project has finally met its goal of 20,000 participants. Early movers have already accomplished so much, but we still need your help to show the world we can build a shining beacon of liberty. Stop making excuses and join us here in New Hampshire. Visit freestateproject.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Does the religion of Islam require execution for people who leave the religion? This is the question that we're asking here because Dave, who's still on the line, by the way, we're going to bring him back from Eureka, says he's a liberal and he wants to kind of take on Islam from his perspective, saying that he doesn't agree with people being executed. And I said, well, wait, I don't even know if that's true. That doesn't sound true to me. But we're going to get actually Will Coley on the line, who is an actual Muslim, rather than you and me, Mark, trying to scrape through the internet and figure out what different Muslims think about this. Because one thing you will guarantee is that different Muslims will have different opinions about that. So maybe there are some radicals that have the opinion that execution should happen, but I don't think that's the supermajority of Muslims.
Well, one thing is I would say is I always when I was a Christian and I talked to Muslims, I would feel like they didn't really understand my holy book, right? You say that Jesus is the Prince of Peace, but it says here's a verse where it says, I didn't come to bring peace, I came to bring a sword. That doesn't sound like the Prince of Peace, and so they can take sort of verses out of context and that kind of thing.
Exactly. So let's bring Dave back on the line here. Dave, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am. Thanks.
All right, so we're going to bring you on with an actual Muslim. This is Will Coley. He's on from Tennessee via Skype, and he is one of the folks from Muslims for Liberty. That's Muslims4liberty.org. Will, you're on with Dave in Eureka.
Sure. What's up? How you guys doing tonight?
Good, Will. So tell us, is there truth to the claim that the Quran says that you're supposed to put people to death who want to leave the religion?
Well, the specific verse that he's citing is actually discussing a group of individuals who were working on behalf of Abu Jahl, who is a historic figure who led the effort to oppress Muslims. He personally took the life of the first martyr in Islam, who was a woman named Sumayya. He stabbed her through because he insulted her, and she spat in his face after he tortured her for a week. And so he ran her through. He also tortured the slave Bilal by laying rocks on top of him in order to convince him to renounce his faith. And the way that story ends is Abu Bakr actually comes down and purchases Bilal and gives him his freedom. But the verse he's referring to is talking about the migration, which is where the Muslims fled in the night in order to escape persecution to Medina. And in that time, the people who were working for Abu Jahl and the other members of the Quraysh tribal leadership who had basically infiltrated the Muslim community as a form of espionage for these Quraysh tribal leaders, they decided they didn't want to go because they didn't want to leave their things and their belongings and for it to appear as though they were actually with the Muslims. So there were those of them who were committing espionage against the community, and when the migration happened, those people in the midst of the migration slipped away and ran back to report what they needed to report and then stay in Mecca. And the dispensation was given that you can use force against those who are assisting in the oppression and subjugation of your people by committing espionage against them. So these are people that had infiltrated the community. They were assisting the pagan Quraysh tribal leaders in committing violence against the Muslim community. So because of that, the door was open to use violence against them in return. Now, as far as the apostasy is concerned, you can find a law against apostasy. It's not in the Quran. It's in a book called Reliance of the Traveler. It was written by a Shafi'i scholar. But the evidence that's cited is a specific hadith that later exposition of that hadith found it to be invalid. It only has one narrator, and that narrator is found to have actually been arrested for narrating false hadith. Like he was actually basically hands put on him by the son of
now,
the man.
Before you go on, what is the hadith? Because we know most people probably know what the Quran is the holy book of Islam. What are the hadiths?
Well, the hadith are collections of sayings that were collected and written down about 300 years after the death of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But they're stories, oral stories that are told about what happened during this time when Islam was created. So it's where a lot of your historical information about things like the original revelation or the historical context around some of the Quran and the verses that are there. But like one of the most well-known scholars, particularly among modern-day extremists, oddly enough, is Ibn Taymiyyah. There's actually an effort in Egypt to outlaw his books because they're so closely linked in the modern mind with extremism. And even Ibn Taymiyyah acknowledges that in Islam, apostasy is broken into three categories. There are those who leave the religion, who wish to maintain a friendly relationship with the Muslims around them. Then there are those who leave the religion and wish to maintain a neutral position, neither allies nor enemies, just I'm a guy that lives next door. I'm not your friend, but I don't have any animus against you. I don't want to hurt you. And the third are those who commit apostasy and then join in the efforts to use force or violence against the Muslims. And according to Ibn Taymiyyah and every other scholar that I've read, only the third are you allowed to use force against. And that's because they themselves are leaving your group and joining in violence against your group. So the only people that you have the right to use force against are those who they themselves are using force. And that's according to, like I said, the most popular scholar, even among modern-day extremists.
All right, Dave, that's a lot, but I thought it was a very good explanation. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, by the way, and I really, again, I'm not trying to say you can't be Muslim or anything like that, and I'm certainly in no way in agreement with those on the right, but I'm against. I'm an atheist. I'm against religion. I'm not out to.
Why are you against religion as an atheist? What do you care what people think?
Because this affects my life.
How so? How do Muslims affect your life?
Because, well, in Islam, Sharia law or something near to it is in the same way how those on the right would want to instill more of a theocratic.
Sharia law is for Muslims in the same way that rabbinical law is for Jews. Sharia law has nothing to do with you. Okay, so you're a new atheist, is that right? You're all full of atheist vim.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't call myself a new atheist.
Okay, well, no. I'm not saying that that's the title. I'm saying you're recently converted to atheism.
Yeah, after experiencing doubt for a number of years, finally giving it up.
Yeah. Okay. So I experienced religious doubt, and I have similar thoughts. As much delight as you have in other people's religions is how they feel about your atheism. Your atheism is what your opportunity is to be free of religion and religious thoughts. So be that, but don't spend your time standing against other people's religions. Is quite frankly a big fat waste of your time.
Right. Well, what you were saying, Mark, that might not have been
Right, but you
clear.
like it when
What I think what Mark was trying to get across to you, though, Dave, was that Muslims aren't affecting you. Sharia law is a set of rules just for Muslims. So when he asked you how Muslims are affecting you, you brought up Sharia law, but that doesn't affect you.
Is evangelicalism affecting you?
Is evangelicalism? I think
No,
so.
not at all.
I would say it is.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'd say evangelicalism.
It's affecting our foreign policy.
All right, we got crosstalk here. Hang on a second there, Will.
So I'd say evangelicalism is affecting our foreign policy. There are plenty of people who are elected to our government who want to see a temple that is a mosque torn down, a temple put up so that Jesus can come. Yes, that affects me. Islam, however, really doesn't affect me in any way other than the tax money. The tax money that's taken from me is put into bombs that is dropped on those people.
Dave, it's been a great call. I would love to have you call and talk more from your, the perspective or what you believe the left's perspective is here. Always enjoy the conversation. I want to get some other folks on the air here tonight. Toll-free number. Yep, toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And I'm going to say goodbye to Will as well because I know he's out at lunch or rather dinner tonight with his family, and I want to make sure he gets back to that. But I'm sure we'll have him on again. 855-450-FREE. That's Will Coley, the host of Call to Freedom.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Hours spent volunteering at a local homeless shelter truly make her death at the hands of a drunk driver earlier this week all the harder to take for this school and this community.
I never knew Amanda, but everywhere I went there were touching reminders of the caring friend she would have been to me had I known her.
Losing Amanda was one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with, but I knew I had to be strong for this community. I couldn't let them go through the funeral without my support.
She's so much better than all of us. She was so much good. She cared about so many people. She loved you so much. What's your name? She loved me, Russell.
And we have O'Brady Shaw with us right now.
Thanks, Brooke.
Not quite how I would have reported the story. Seems a bit unprofessional to let yourself get so emotional.
Well, when people are feeling pain, I feel it too. Don't you ever get emotionally invested in a story?
No, I don't. You know, I had my tear ducts cauterized years ago, and I like to keep my emotions stored in a special place in my mind where they only come out for my night terrors.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Friday, gold is down $1 at $1,231 per ounce. Silver is even at $15.43 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $420 US. Robertson Roberts is your source for physical precious metals since 1977. If all your investments are in paper promises, we should probably talk. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us right here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can, of course, join us online anytime you want. Head over to freetalklive.com. And if you like the show and you want to help support Free Talk Live, then please become a Free Talk Live amplifier for $5 per month. We will invest that $5 into the show and help get on. It'll help us get on more radio stations. We've actually got several new stations to announce. Very excited about that. That's coming very soon. And thanks to Daryl. And by the way, the reason why we have Daryl assisting with the affiliate relations program with Free Talk Live is because of the AMP, the amplifiers who are out there supporting the show. You can do that too for $5 a month over at amp.freetalklive.com and get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, the AMP-only Facebook group, and more. Go to amp.freetalklive.com, AMP, like advertise, market, and promote. amp.freetalklive.com, right to the phones and to your thoughts. Mike is in South Carolina. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Mike, go ahead with your thoughts.
I was listening to when you were talking about the Islam, and maybe I'm confused, but I just looked it up. As far as starting in Surah 298, it talks about the infidels, and Allah is the enemy of the infidels. And then on down to Surah 191, I believe it says, where it says you can kill them whenever you encounter them. Yep. Now he's saying that only is only for a certain group.
Yeah. Right. So Islam was basically at war in its very beginning.
Well, there were people.
War was made against Islam.
Who did not like them.
If that's what you prefer to say,
that's correct.
That's fine. And it's not like war wasn't made against the Christians too.
Yeah, sure.
Many religions when they start out are stood against by the existing religions.
Right. Now, what I can't understand is, okay, so the extremists are not allowed to use. They say there's a book that they won't even allow out because it's too extreme. Did I hear him correctly?
Well, I mean, there are extremists, and then there's the majority of Islam, and Islam is like Christians. There are extreme Christians who advocate some dangerous things as well. So I think that's really all we're talking about here.
Quite as far as maybe the extremists of the Islam. I mean, I consider myself Christian, but I just don't understand how, when you read it in the Quran, it seems like that should be their holy grail. Am I not correct? I mean, don't they just follow that to the T? Or do they use
when
you're reading it, you interpret it the way that you interpret it, right? Like you believe you know what an infidel is, and you believe you know how that's applied today versus what it is that they were talking about at a given time. So, for instance, as a critique, one of my problems with Christianity, for instance, is that I'm upset that Jesus didn't come and say, you know what, slavery's wrong. Slavery is wrong every issue, every time. You can't do it. It's wrong. And that's how I feel about Christianity. And but people will tell me, hey, you can't do that. That wasn't sort of the times or the place, and you got to look at stuff in context. So we can either choose to look at religions in context, and I'm fine with doing that, or we can look at religions out of context, and I'm fine with doing that, because I don't have a horse in this race. In that way, my religion is that I have a relationship with God, and that's it. Stupid old books don't really matter to me. But people that use my tax money to fight their old books versus somebody else's old books, that makes me very, very angry.
Oh well, I can agree with that. But when they are beheading Christians for no reason at all.
And when you say they,
aren't you just as upset that they're beheading Muslims? I mean, Muslim terrorists kill like 90% Muslims.
Right.
Doesn't that horrify you?
Well, I agree. Yeah, that's horrible.
Because it's a person, not because it's a Christian.
Right. I mean, it's important, when people use words like they, it's easy to get lost in the meaning. So when you say they, you may be meaning extreme Muslims or, radical Islamists.
Extreme Muslims are killing. They're killing everybody. They're killing their own.
Yeah. Well, there are psychopaths in the world, and some of them have gotten together.
Here's just a little conjecture that I've put together.
The U.S. military is also killing people around the world.
So there are some people that feel disempowered in the Middle East because there's a very powerful organization. We'll call that organization the United States government. Those people are going to use whatever methods they can possibly use to get people together, because they know that they need people on their side. They're going to use whatever methods they can to get people together. That method that they've decided to use is extreme religion. Religions have been very successful throughout time in getting people to, in conquering the world. So, for instance, the Spartans believed that if you died in battle, that you would go to their version of heaven, whatever that might be. The Vikings believed the same thing. In one case, you have the people that saved Western civilization. In the other hand, you have the people that essentially, to some extent, created Western civilization. So this is powerful, and it should be looked at in a fearful manner. When you say that, when somebody says, look, you get 70 virgins or 40 virgins, I'm not exactly sure how many virgins you're supposed to get. When you go to heaven, that sounds pretty good, and somebody who has nothing is liable to go for that, right? Like, they're going to be duped and tricked. Turns out they're not getting any virgins, or if they are getting virgins, it's not the virgins they were hoping for, right? So, I believe that to be the trick. And yes, I do think that there's a radical, scary element to Islam, and I think most Muslims would tell you the same thing. Certainly Will Coley will when he's on the line. But what I'm deathly afraid of is that there are, people in America who don't spend much time thinking, who just Muslim bad, bomb. And those people, to me, are the most frightening people on the planet.
Turn it to glass.
What they do is they empower the most destructive organization the world has ever seen. And I don't mean destructive in that it's destroyed more things. I mean that it has the power to destroy more things than any organization.
I guarantee you that the U.S. government has destroyed more things than all of ISIS put together.
That much is true, certainly. So those people empower that organization to do destructive things. That frightens me. How about you?
Mike.
We lost him.
He's still, the line's still open.
I talked him into the dirt.
I don't know what happened there. Well, thanks for the call, Mike. Oh, man. Was that him right at the very end? I don't know.
Something happened.
Let's go to James. He's in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, James.
James, you got to turn down your radio.
You always got to listen on the phone rather than on the radio. We're going to let him go. Let's go to Matt, calling from Massachusetts. And Matt, you're on Free Talk Live via Skype.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was thinking about that Quranic verse thing, and the guy almost stole my thunder. But now I'm not going to say that it's only the whack jobs that are going to use this. And I can quote from book 4. Or chapter 4, whatever they call it, verse 89, and I'll quote it. They wish you to reject faith as they have rejected faith, and thus you all become equal, like one another. So take not, can't pronounce the word, means protectors or friends from them, till they emigrate into the way of Allah. But if they turn back from Islam, take hold of them and kill them wherever you find them, and take neither, that word again, protectors or friends, nor helpers from them. Now, the Bible has the same problem where it has verses that say, if you do something like, go to the wrong place at the wrong time and don't do the right thing, kill them.
Right. They don't honor their parents or something like that.
Yeah. Now, that, like you said, Mark, about the silly old books, I'm totally with you on this. I tend to I see God's message everywhere. So we can always be happy that no matter what, you can always counter all these end times people with, watch Babylon 5, The Lost Tales. She describes it perfectly, where we will not have the end times for at least another 3.5 billion years. Because the Revelations describes the death of Saul, our G2 primary.
The son?
Yes.
Gotcha.
It is an absolute perfect astronomical description of the death of a G2 primary.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
I never
your
heard
claim-
that one. That's
your,
cool.
Your claim is that the Bible describes the death of Saul or soul. In that case, when the Bible was written, in that time frame, you would have been using the Latin for soul.
Yep.
And that is the destruction of our star, and that's several billion years in the future. Is that what your claim is?
Exactly.
I like it.
It's a perfect description of it, how the skies change, how the seas boil, how the
No, wait, why would the
tectonic
sea
shifts.
boil if the sun went away?
Red giant.
Yeah, it actually will expand and consume the Earth.
Whoa, I didn't realize that. I just figured it'd burn out.
It gets big.
No, we're not going to have that part. It actually, as it runs out of hydrogen, it starts to expand wider.
I didn't pay attention in science class. Hey, thanks for the call, Matt. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here. I went to the gifted school.
Yeah. That's what I'm sitting here thinking gifted school. Here I am sitting in the dum-dum school, and I remember red giants, buddy.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. But not all suns are red giants, are they?
No, not all suns are red giants. You're right.
Okay, it's Free Talk Live. Hour 2's coming up.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the New Hampshire Liberty Forum in Manchester, New Hampshire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,226 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $439. Antiwar.com reports a heretofore mostly unknown Kurdish faction calling itself the Kurdistan Freedom Falcons, TAK, is claiming the credit for the Wednesday bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara, saying it was revenge for Turkish attacks on the Kurdish city of Cizre. Not much is known about the TAK at this point, but it is describing itself as a splinter group from the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, the primary Turkish Kurdistan faction against which the Turkish government is waging a war that spans most of the nation's southeast. The only previous TAK incident to get any sort of public attention was in December, when the group claimed credit for a mortar attack against the Istanbul airport, a strike which killed a single civilian employee. Turkey, however, blamed the Ankara bombing on the Syrian Kurdish faction, the YPG, and used it as a pretext for further attacks against northern Syria, along with a new round of demands that its allies sever all ties with Syria's Kurds.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump rolled to victory on Saturday in South Carolina in a contest that saw former Florida Governor Jeb Bush drop out of the race, while Democratic hopeful Hillary Clinton beat back against a strong challenge from Bernie Sanders in Nevada. The victories by Trump and Clinton solidified their positions as the frontrunners to win their parties' respective presidential nominations ahead of the November 8th elections. Bush suffered a distant fourth-place finish in the Republican contest and announced he had suspended his campaign, ending his dream of becoming a third Bush president after his father and his brother. By winning both South Carolina and New Hampshire and holding leads in the 11 states that vote on March 1st, Trump was arguably on track to win the nomination, an outcome that seemed astounding to contemplate when he got into the race late last summer. He easily defeated Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who were in a close fight for second and the right to declare themselves the anti-Trump alternative. Meanwhile, Clinton's victory in the Nevada Democratic Caucus could help calm Democratic Party worries about the strength of her campaign. Her win denied Sanders the breakthrough win he had sought in a state with a heavy minority population, but his ability to close a one-time double-digit polling lead for Clinton suggests the Democratic nominating race will be long and hard-fought.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports President Barack Obama urged a group of Democrat governors to allow citizens to participate in democracy, quote, the way our founding fathers intended, unquote, by making voting as easy as possible. While speaking at the Democratic Governors Association meeting on Friday, the president said he would focus this year on protecting the right to vote. Obama said the job of our democracy is to make it easier, not make it harder for our citizens to be able to vote, and we need to be modernizing voting to reflect the way that people live today. Obama cited a law in his home state of Illinois that will go into effect this year and expand early voting, allowing voters to register and vote on Election Day. Obama said this is about more than just creating economic opportunity. It's about preserving the rights and opportunities of generations of Americans that have fought so hard to secure and broaden our democracy. It's about making democracy as good as it can be. He also praised the adoption of automatic voter registration in Oregon and California as examples of changing the voting process to reflect a modern way of life. He said in Oregon alone, they're hoping to register 300,000 voters this year, and so I'd encourage your steps to take a look at the proposal that they've put forward. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Last night's Victoria's Secret fashion show was a true ratings winner, particularly with men who don't know that actual pornography exists. The angels' feather costumes and silk nightgowns were a hit with 30 to 35-year-old male viewers who had no idea that nude images of all the models are easily accessible on the internet. And the show did equally well with 10 to 12-and-a-half-year-old boys who are going to have their minds blown when they finally get around their parents' internet blockers. CBS executives are touting the broadcast as breakthrough programming for people who are excited by the tops of boobs. Producer Dave Mitchell told Variety, quote, "The $2.5 million fantasy bra is a big draw with women who shop at Victoria's Secret, and an even bigger draw with men who've never seen or heard about sex before." The runway show drew expected outrage from the Christian Family Research Council. Executive Director Kathy Rouse charged that the event degrades women by objectifying them, most likely because she's never seen a Ukrainian prostitute receive a bukkake shower from a gang of cracked-out Albanian teens.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We are launching into the second hour of the program. If we get a chance, we'll tell you about the latest from the socialist pit of Venezuela. It's Ian here with you tonight.
And Mark.
And you can join us via Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. Edward Snowden, the keynote speaker at this year's New Hampshire Liberty Forum, making headlines all over the place. I've yet to go through them all, but it looks like there's over 100 articles on Google News with the words Edward Snowden and Free State Project in them. And, of course, the Free State Project is going to get a lot of press out of this and could have a nice boost. I mean, even though we made our goal of 20,000 participants who've signed up to libertarians, who've signed up to make the move to New Hampshire and get active with the Free State Project, they're still accepting new signers. So what a great time to continue to promote the Free State Project.
I think it's fine if you want to go to the Free State Project's website at freestateproject.org and sign up for the Free State Project. But I hope they never change the counter again. To me, what that's about is...
Well, there's a new counter. The new counter is the moved counter. They're trying to get to 20,000 movers now. So they had 20,000 signers.
I'm interested in that number.
People who've pledged. So now we need people to move. And I think it is important to sign something that, states one's intentions in
It's
in
good
life.
to get in contact with an organization that you're interested in, perhaps.
Because they'll put you on the
involving-
email list.
Right. It's good to be on the email list.
So let's go to the phones and the fun. First up, Mike is in South Carolina listening via TuneIn online. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, we got cut off. I heard everything you said. I really did. You didn't talk into the dirt.
Right.
I promise.
Okay, very good.
But, for me, and this is my opinion, and I think one of the biggest problems we have in this country, it's not okay to disagree. It is okay to disagree. Everybody has their own opinion.
Sure.
And this is just my opinion. I believe that Christianity is not a religion. It's about a relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay? Now, I do believe in Revelation, but it's my belief. And I look at it this way. If I'm wrong, then I die and I rot in the ground. But if I'm right, then I go to heaven.
That's Pascal's wager, right?
Well, I mean,
That's
if
what it's
I'm
called.
wrong, then nothing's going to happen.
Right, that's what that is called.
That's what it's
Pascal's
called.
wager.
There was some, ancient guy named Pascal who said that, look, it makes sense to be a Christian because being a Christian means that you get to go to heaven, and if you're wrong, then you go to the same place that the other people go, so what difference does it make, is the idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could say that about other monotheistic religions as well, if they were as popular.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
I love this atheist argument. I am not an atheist. Is that there's 568 religions in all of humanity or whatever. We disbelieve. Both of us disbelieve in 567 of them. We're just disagreeing on one. And ultimately that's what it comes down to.
What if they're all right?
What's fascinating is the vast majority of people that believe that they're right also believe that the religion of their parents passed down to them was the right religion. Isn't that a astronomically low chance that that's true?
Oh, well,
yeah.
I don't
You're
know.
saying
I mean,
what are the odds that your parents picked right?
Right. Poor. The odds are slim.
Yeah, the odds are slim, but still,
somebody's right.
and
Right.
I read the Bible. I read the Bible for myself, and from what I take from it, and I'm sure that a lot of it influences from my parents because I did grow up in a Christian home. But from what I do read, I mean, I tend to sway that way. But like I said, I think, the problem in this country is we can't disagree. Why can't we disagree?
Well, I'm fine with disagreeing. Here's what my concern is with any religious person, and in this country, the religious people that concern me are Christians or people who are, believe Christianity differently than I believe Christianity. Because I think that some sort of from a greater bird's eye view, somebody can call me a Christian. I think that's fine. I believe in God. I'm a Western, Western male, so you can call me a Christian if that's what you want.
I don't think that. No. Well, you have to believe Jesus Christ is your Savior.
That's
in order
somebody
to be a Christian,
else's
right?
definition. I believe that
Really?
Jesus is the Messiah, and I believe there are many Messiahs because he fits the definition of what a Messiah is. However, Christ is a Greek word that should never be applied to Jesus, and Paul should have never spread that religion beyond what he did. It was a religion for Jews. Now, that's my opinion or whatever, but the people that scare me in this country are Christians that vote their Christianity. So they vote we shouldn't have prostitution, we shouldn't have gambling, we shouldn't have whatever it is that I think
they're
is
forcing
wrong.
their views
Right.
on others.
They're playing God because God gave you free will, and then they want to take it away. They want to bomb people of other religions.
God will never force anything upon you. It is free will.
Except hell, right?
Well, I mean, that's the two choices, heaven or hell.
Well, no, it's not a choice if I don't make it, right? Like if I choose not to make a choice, heaven's a choice, hell is not.
I agree. Can I ask you one more question and just get your opinions on this?
Sure.
With Apple, what is your opinion? Should they help the FBI?
If they turn those keys over to the FBI, those keys will get into the hands of every malicious hacker, every scary tin-pock dictator. People will die in the millions based on turning over those keys. What the request from the FBI in that case is just flat out a request for murder.
Yeah, and I would say.
So. I mean, even just for that one phone.
It doesn't work that way.
Apple can't get into that. If Apple makes it so that they can get into that phone, then they break the encryption to the point that they can get into the phone. You break that encryption, then it breaks it for all the phones, and that's it from there. It's not magic. They can't just turn it on.
To disable the unlimited lock feature, or the limited to 10. What is it? 10 limited. You got 10 tries, 10 successive tries, and then it wipes out the phone.
That's my understanding.
That's what they're asking. That's what they're asking. Is we just want we'll get into it. Just take away that part of that phone. But it has an ID. I mean, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate, and just.
I hear you.
On both sides.
I don't know what are the authorities going to find out there. So far, the United States government, when it collects information, does some really scary stuff. I'm sick and tired of being lied to by the NSA. Before the Snowden leaks came out, we found out what was going to be on them. The NSA said, no, that's going to be there. And then we find out that that's a lie. And then they say, well, we didn't do it knowingly. And then we find out that's a lie. And then they just keep on lying and lying and lying. I kind of feel like I'm sick of dealing with liars. And the government's made it very clear that anybody from the police officer you deal with on a daily basis all the way up to the chief of the NSA, all of these people are exempt from telling you the truth. And I mean, you're a Christian. I'd say that's an ungodly, satanic organization. Don't deal with Satan, brother.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. Thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I will go so far as to say all those other governments all around the world, including the ones in the Muslim countries, they're probably satanic too. Because you simply can't run an organization of force without lies, deception, violence. You just can't do it.
that kind of it's like calling the police pigs. It's sort of an insult to the pig in some cases. I'm not saying that about all police. I think some of them are pretty good guys.
I think there's a lot of law enforcement officers who are trying to work within a very corrupt system.
But calling governments satanic is kind of an insult to Satan.
I'm talking to a religious guy, though.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
No, Satan tells lies. He's the prince of lies.
Well, now, isn't it possible that Satan was just somebody who was challenging God's authority and power, and that all the things that have been written about him have also? Really? I know that. You're not talking to a Christian here, okay?
Then Satan's not real, dumbass.
I don't know what's real. Okay, I'm not going to take a position on that. I don't personally believe in it.
You asked me a question.
I don't personally
I gave
believe
you
in
an
it.
answer.
No, I never really got my question out. You interrupted me. I said, isn't it possible that, in this whole view of Christianity, Satanism, whatever, that the people who wanted to make Satan out to be the bad guy would have written him that way? But what if, if Satan was real, that he was just somebody who challenged the authority of this, tyrannical God in certain circumstances and decided to set man free?
Okay, so I'm in an imaginary world where Satan is real, God is a tyrant, and God wrote the Bible. Okay, I guess what I would say to that is that, okay, God has shown me no evidence that he's a tyrant. I would say that the people that wrote the Bible will write him that way. But I guess I don't believe that. You can't ask me to go that far into the fantasy world, because I don't believe that he's I don't believe he's tyrannical. I don't believe he's the God of the Bible.
Wasn't the God of the Bible kind of a little tyrant in the Old Testament specifically?
Well, he wasn't that great in the New Testament. You believe or you go to hell for the rest of eternity.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You may take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit-selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away 5,000 free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-961-8439. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-961-8439. 1-800-961-8439.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the hosts you're listening to right now, online at GCNlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at GCNlive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me.
Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Join us here on Free Talk Live. You can do it via your phone, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. But that's kind of an older way to get in touch with us. You can also get in touch with us via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM.
You've probably been hearing about how beets are good for you. What the science is behind that is that there was a Nobel Prize team a team that got the Nobel Prize back in 1998 for their studies in nitric oxide and what it does as far as cardiovascular health, blood pressure, those kind of things. I've recently been taking a supplement, and a lot of people have been asking me about it. Mark, are you for real? And the answer is yes. I'm for real. I've been taking Super Beets, and by everything I can tell, this is factually one of those great nutraceuticals that's really going to change your life. So my blood pressure is lower than it has been. I'm taking it comes with these nitric oxide testing strips, and you can test yourself. How is my nitric oxide right now? It doesn't stay in your blood a great deal of a whole long time, so you got to kind of keep on taking the supplement. But if you do, then you get these huge benefits. And by the way, it also gives you increases your energy levels. So if you take it in the morning, it's great and makes you feel like you're awake. It doesn't feel like coffee. I'm very sensitive to stimulants. And I want you to check it out. So here's if you don't feel any results, you get your money back guarantee. If you don't feel the results, if you don't see the results, if you don't feel like this is right for you, you get your money back guaranteed. That was very important to me in taking this endorsement. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You get the nitric oxide indicator strips so you can test yourself and see that it's working on you. Plus, you'll feel the energy. And plus, you get the free book, Beat the Odds, so it'll tell you all about it. And all of this comes to you with free shipping. All you have to do is go to ftlbeats.com to check it out, or you can call the number 800-951-8940, ftlbeats.com, 800-951-8940. I think Super Beets is wonderful. I just take it with water, but you can take it with yogurt or smoothie. 800-951-8940, ftlbeats.com.
All right, let's go to your phone calls, your thoughts. We've got Matt in Tennessee. Matt, you're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think Islam is a threat.
I agree.
Now, I'll tell you why I don't think Islam's a threat.
Okay.
Because they don't have the economic system. Theologically, in Islam, they are supposed to submit. Anyone that submits to government is going to be regulated. And in their case, in the case of Islam, theologically. Therefore, Islam is inherently a religion, a theocratical religion of government regulation. Therefore,
what does that mean? Free. That's not my understanding of Islam at all.
Doesn't Romans 13 tell Christians to submit to those in authority?
No, it's interesting stuff. I've actually got a copy of the Quran. I had a class in the University of Tennessee system under a more progressive professor that was pro-Islam. So, and actually my copy of the Quran is from the Penguin Classics. It doesn't even include Surah, which is where, the Quran is more scattered than the Bible when it comes to literature.
When you say it's more scattered, what do you mean?
Wasn't it just him dictating? Go ahead.
Well, It's scattered because they have so many more. I think they have so much more dogma within the Islamic religion, and there's plenty of dogma in the Christian religion.
Yeah.
For example, these people that think that Jesus is coming back. He's already come back.
That's what
the Bible is a book.
What's that, a preterist?
Yeah, the preterists believe that all the predictions of the New Testament occurred within the first century. So the claims are that all these things have occurred already, and so that there's really nothing else to predict.
Well, it could be. I know in the book of Revelation, you basically got three things. You got your pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib, and that's just within Christianity.
It's tribulationism, trib, not trip, you stoner.
Hey, wait a minute. So just let me clarify here, Mark. So the preterists believe that it's already the rapture, or the rapture has happened?
I guess. I mean, I'm not entirely clear on it. I just know that the preterists
believe
like
it. The Left Behind series think that you're going to be whisked away on some type of magic carpet ride.
What do you think, Matt?
I already told you. He's already been.
So you are a preterist.
So, Jesus. He already came.
So what comes next?
Life goes on. People live and die, and the decisions that are made by the people that are probably demonically influenced.
Demons.
Will
you believe in demons?
Prevail, but God will prevail.
But you
Truth
believe
will
in
prevail.
demons? Is that a particularly
Absolutely.
Christian thing?
No, demons are very common throughout the world. The belief in demons and evil spirits.
No. But what I mean is, do all Christians believe in demons? Is it a Christian-wide thing?
So.
I'm sorry,
I
Matt.
like
What were you
rock
saying?
and rolls, man. I'm borderline anarchist.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's what percentage of Christians believe in demons? Would seem to be a large percentage, I would think.
I don't know. I think that people get really sort of shifty on it. I think they want to believe in God. They want to believe in angels. Angels are fun to believe in, right? And, at that point, then they feel sort of an obligation to believe in the devil. And then
demons.
at that point, if you believe in angels, you factually have to believe in demons. But the belief in evil spirits is planet-wide.
Sure.
So if you are going to sort of use the argumentum ad populum,
which I would not do.
But it's a logical fallacy, but people use it all the time.
Sure.
Then you would believe in demons because most of the planet believed in demons. So that's it gets very difficult.
I
don't believe in demons at all,
Right.
and I think that this is we need to stop basing our lives and foreign policy on the belief that the demons are making us sick, and that that maybe we're going to go to heaven tomorrow, and all these crazy things. I mean, all these beliefs are fine. It's when we start applying them to our lives and other people's lives that they get really mushy for me.
Let's go to Tim. He's in Wyoming. Tim, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate the show tonight.
Sure.
You're talking about religion, and you said earlier I think, unless I'm mistaken, I didn't actually hear what you said was the most dangerous thing in the world, and unless this is my opinion. What is the most dangerous thing in the world is ignorance, because people try to explain things away, or they have beliefs over things that they don't have any facts to believe upon.
This is an interesting question. Hang on, Tim. What is the most dangerous thing in the world? The most dangerous idea or thing or whatever? 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Tim says it's ignorance. What do you think? Or Skype into the show. It's Skype username LRN.FM. It's the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Attention citizens. This man has received national attention for accurately predicting every major financial trend, including the market crash of 2008. His name is Harry Dent. And in his newly released book, he is making even bigger and bolder predictions that have the potential to devastate the world economy and your personal wealth. You can get a free copy of Harry Dent's bestseller, The Demographic Cliff, containing never-before-published information by simply visiting www.harrydentresearch.com. Again, that's www.harrydentresearch.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Been a bit of a theological discussion here tonight. Joining you in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can, of course, join us online anytime over at freetalklive.com. Plus, maybe you want to get involved with Arcade City. You've heard us talking about it, interviewing the creator of Arcade City, Christopher David. Word is getting around about Arcade City. It's getting headlines, making news, because they're challenging Uber, they're challenging Lyft. They're going to take on the ride-sharing big dogs, and they're going to do their best to decentralize ride-sharing even further, to disrupt the already disrupted transportation services industry. And I'm pretty excited about it. I spent a little bit of time with Chris over the weekend and Dennis, who's kind of like the second-in-command over there at Arcade City, and they're just doing amazing work. If you've been thinking about signing up, you now can. If you can just prove that you've had a background check, you can become a driver for Arcade City. You don't have to be an Uber or Lyft driver anymore. So the first step for their recruiting was to only recruit existing Uber and Lyft drivers. Now they're opening it up to anybody who can prove a background check. So if you want to sign up, go to arcade.freetalklive.com, Or if you want to sign up as a rider for Arcade City, you can go to arcaderide.freetalklive.com. And Arcade City is going to be built by drivers for drivers, and you'll be able to keep all of what you earn if you drive for Arcade City. So go to arcade.freetalklive.com. They're really changing the game, and it's pretty cool. Let's go to Tim. Back to Tim in Wyoming. Tim, you'd asked the question of what is the what is it that is the most dangerous thing? Is that right in the world?
Yeah, that's right. You were saying the most dangerous thing. I think you said earlier that the most dangerous thing was something like it wasn't theism. I don't think it was theism or even atheism, but I think it was just maybe it was a stubborn belief in one particular ideology of some kind.
Is that you who said that, Mark? I don't remember.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't remember saying that.
Could have been a caller.
You didn't say that. You didn't say that. But I mean, essentially, the idea of what you're saying is that if there are certain beliefs that people hold, then they won't sway on them. They won't allow a small crack in their armor, so to speak, to let any.
Well, cognitive dissonance certainly is a strong thing that most people have and that they can struggle with. But I would say, just to answer the question, I think it's an interesting question. You said that you believe ignorance is the most dangerous thing. I have to say, I like Larkin Rose's argument that it's actually the belief in authority that is the most dangerous thing. Because, if you think about it, ignorance on its own isn't dangerous. It's something that all of us have. Like, I am ignorant when it comes to doing car repair. Like, I'm not very good at it. I've changed oil once, and I was a teenager when I did that. So, I can put gas in the damn thing, but as far as anything else goes...
Auto shop in high school, basically, right?
No, I never had that. I went to the gifted school. They didn't have that.
The gifted kids expect to have other people's kids take care of their cars.
So I think that
the chauffeurs, right? Yeah, okay.
So to get specific... the ignorance specifically that is dangerous is the ignorance of the idea that, authority is terrible, right? Like authority, people believe in authority. Larkin Rose wrote a great book about this called The Most Dangerous Superstition. And he lays out a solid argument that, if people didn't believe in authority, then, we wouldn't have the state, because then no one would be fooled by this song and dance they have of acting like it's somehow legitimate for them to rule over our lives, for them to threaten us with violence and caging if we don't do what it is that they say, or give them the arbitrary amounts of money and obedience that they are demanding. So I would get a little bit more specific, but I'd also like to hear Mark's answer to the question, what is the most dangerous thing?
I'd say the most dangerous thing is the human compulsion to control their situations. So human beings sort of by their nature want to control. And it makes sense to want to control, say, the ground so you can grow crops, and animals so that you can make food, and trees so that you can make houses, and all these other things. Control is very good in that area. But the control tends to sweep over things like our families, our communities, and then goes on much farther to around the world and that kind of thing. So I think it's this compulsion that we have to control.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree. Without disagreeing with what you're saying, I'll say that what Machiavelli said was that power corrupts, and maybe it was in the Prince, I think, but essentially what I'm saying is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. If people believe that the power that they have is worthwhile to have to control others, and that could possibly be that is obviously a dangerous thing. That's a very dangerous thing. What I meant by ignorance being a dangerous thing, in essence, is, let's say you're walking down the sidewalk and there's a sign. You don't know how to read the language that's written on the sign. The sign says, "Watch out! There's a giant hole ahead. Don't fall in the giant hole." And you don't know how to read the sign. And it's written in maybe it's written in the language of a country you've never been to, and all of a sudden you're dropped in there for some reason. I'm just saying, there's a sign. You can't read the sign, or somebody says something in the language to you, don't cross the street right here, the cars never stop, and you walk out and you get run over. Okay, that's in essence that's ignorance in that sense, but because you've failed to be educated in the sense of what you needed to have to be in that particular environment. That's what I mean by this.
Yeah, there's no doubt that ignorance does put you at risk in a lot of situations. Thanks for the call, Tim. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, and ignorance of economics can definitely put you in a hurting position, especially when not only might someone be ignorant of economics, but also the people in power are ignorant of economics, and then they do some really stupid things that have some nasty consequences, usually not for the people in power, because if the people in power could feel directly the consequences of their actions, they probably wouldn't take them because they're insulated, they're well protected, taken care of, well paid, well fed. And certainly the people in Venezuela who are in power are, still pretty well fed. They're probably doing okay. Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, he looks well fed. I don't think that he is having a tough time finding food for himself. He's
doing fine.
He seems kind of plump.
Don't you think that the term ignorance can be used as a manipulative tactic to, in fact, control people? So there's no way. Well, there's no way we can all know everything, right? So ignorance is it's
guaranteed.
Ignorance is the default state for humans. So the question is what is it that the speaker, in any given case, wishes me to be informed about? Well, in many cases, there are topics where you can't even get informed about them. Like, there's so many topics out there that if you go and research on the internet, 9/11 and vaccines come to mind.
Oh, God.
Get informed about 9/11 and vaccines.
Don't summon them.
And you'll never be back. Like, that's it. Yeah. You're gone for the rest of your life digging through the mounds and mounds of information that different people have to educate yourself on the internet. So I don't even believe – I guess I've come to I think that it could very well be that the call for knowledge is in fact a manipulative tactic employed by people who wish to control their environment, which is what I said is the single biggest threat to humans in the first place.
Are you saying that there's no truth on those topics, or that it's not worth digging for the truth?
I don't know that you can find it. I don't know that the average okay, so I believe that you can find a truth for yourself by becoming a vaccineologist or whatever, somebody who studies these things. You can find out the truth. But until you spend
the truth for you, or the truth for the truth?
Yeah, the truth for you, as far as I'm
So you're saying the truth is subjective?
Ultimately, in many cases, the truth is subjective. You just can't figure it out, right? Well, what's global warming? Some people say it is. Some people say it's not.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I tend to agree with you in a lot of cases.
No, we'll find out in the future, but
that's really bothersome libertarians, I bet.
What's that?
To say the truth is subjective.
Well, I'm sure that here's what my thought process is on these three topics. 9/11, you don't know the truth. I don't know the truth. We're never going to find the truth. The government lied, and so do a bunch of other people.
Lies exist.
Lies exist. Number two.
No, wait. How can lies exist if there is no truth?
Vaccines are great. Go ahead and vaccinate your kid, as long as you're willing to take the risk of a medical procedure. Medical procedures have risks. And what was the last one? Global warming?
Okay.
You probably shouldn't argue with scientists, but I will tell you that these scientists
argue with each other.
Yeah, scientists argue with each other, and they're all financially incentivized to come to the conclusion they come to. So I don't
That's the truth.
Yeah.
855-450. I knew there was some truth out there. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us on Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. What's old Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela up to now? Is he going to fix the economy in the last minute? What do you think?
No, Wolf, that's ridiculous.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. You got it?
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Listen Lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us toll free here. 855-450-FREE, live Sunday edition of the program. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We also have Skype, so please Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Going halfway across the world to Venezuela, where Nicolas Maduro has used apparently decree powers, according to TheGuardian.com, to raise fuel prices for the first time in 20 years, and he's devalued the bolivar. Now, if you recall, we've talked...
Why do you care what they're doing in Venezuela?
It's fascinating. I think for whatever reason, Venezuela, North Korea, some of these most totalitarian, socialist countries, and their failures are instructive. I think it's useful to look at this. I know some people would say, it can't happen here, but...
Well, they would say that look at Denmark, look at Sweden, look at these socialist states in Europe, and socialism's doing just fine if it's implemented properly. This is, it's a sad situation. Certainly, socialism, if implemented improperly, doesn't work, and we can all agree on that.
Some systems fail sooner rather than later, and ultimately...
All systems fail, right?
Yeah, ultimately, the system of stealing money from people in order to support whatever bureaucrats think is important is a system that will fail over time. All governments fail.
Well, I would say that you can't have the warfare state and the welfare state at the same time. That would be sort of my argument.
I don't know. They're kind of doing it here in the United States.
You think they got the welfare state in the United States?
Yeah, there's welfare all over the place in the United States.
Don't get sick.
What are you talking about?
Well, they don't have socialized health care. They don't have single-payer health care.
No, they don't have single-payer health care, but there's plenty of welfare. Just because there's not single payer doesn't mean there's no welfare here. You can walk into a hospital and get treated in the United States.
Yep, you can get treated and you'll walk out with a big old debt. That they can then come after you for at some point.
Okay. Well, but nonetheless, you can still get treated because the government mandates that the hospitals treat you. But
that's not welfare because the government's not paying for it.
No, I understand that. But further, there is a lot of welfare. I mean, there's Medicare, Medicaid. There's a lot of government welfare. There's local, state medical programs as well. So it's not like there's no welfare in the United States.
I didn't claim that there wasn't any welfare, but I said you can have the welfare state or the warfare state. If you want the total welfare state, you can't have the total warfare state.
Okay. But the warfare state is a welfare state. It's a corporate welfare state. You're giving money to mega corporations.
Corporations aren't real. They're slips of paper.
There are human beings behind those corporations, and they're getting a paycheck.
Wealthy.
They're getting a paycheck, so that's welfare.
They're supplying something that is getting used by an entity. That's not welfare as much as it is selling stuff. It's rent-seeking behavior, but it's not welfare, right?
Well, there's also corporate welfare that involves...
Corporate welfare, in many cases, as identified by the left, means tax breaks.
No, but there's actual corporate welfare where, like, farmers get paid money to not grow crops and things like that.
There certainly is. That certainly exists, but many of the numbers that you hear quoted where it's like corporate welfare is 10 times regular welfare, it isn't always the same way.
I don't care what that... Look, are you just saying that if there were no warfare state, the welfare state would be bigger or could be bigger? Sure, that's
I'm saying
true.
that in Denmark and Sweden and Germany, and when you look at these places that have these high levels of the support systems, that they generally aren't spending very much on building up their military because big, expensive pieces of metal cost a lot of money.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So,
all I'm saying is, you said it sounded in the beginning like you were saying you couldn't have both, and obviously you can. The United States does.
You can have a crappy welfare state that drives your poor further into poverty and entrenches poverty in your country, like this one has.
Okay.
And you can do welfare better than it's been done in the United States. I would make the argument that you could do better with sort of a universal paycheck that just goes to everybody for doing nothing than what it is that they have now. With no strings attached, right? Like, here's $30,000. It's far better than what they're doing now. Look at the banks getting these huge amounts of money. Just this huge amounts of money being an influx.
The bailouts, you mean?
Well, not just the bailouts, but the Federal Reserve System itself creates money through loans.
That's true.
Those loans are written by these banks.
Fractional
these
reserve.
banks put nothing into, when they give you a loan for your house, they're not giving money of their money. They're giving you money that's been created out of thin air. So...
So that's welfare to the banks in that case.
That's welfare to the central banking system, which is essentially
it's also welfare to the banks,
cartel.
because the banks get to create 9 times the money that they have on hold, or the 9 times they have in the vault, so to speak. And that's called fractional reserve banking.
Sure.
So wouldn't that be considered welfare, corporate welfare?
I think you could call it, but they're not even really corporations as much as they are.
Oh, I bet they're incorporated.
A government. Well, so's the government.
Right.
The government's got corporations too. Is it so when the government gives one entity and the government gives another entity, and then the government is in corporate welfare? I mean, do we
Where
really
do you draw the lines?
Do we need to parse these terms?
Are the banks part of the government, or are they separate
when the government
from
loans
them?
the government its money, it is not corporate welfare. And therefore, I would also argue when the governments allow banks to create money out of thin air, it is not really corporate welfare in the way that most people think of it.
It's a privilege, that's for darn sure.
It's certainly a very, very powerful privilege. If, in fact, the government said, look, money is a thing of value, and we're going to give a certain amount to every person or whatever, rather than letting the banks create it into existence, then you would have, in my opinion, a better, more just system than what we have today.
You're not actually advocating for that, though.
I don't know. Somebody ought to try it.
Somebody
this is another problem with monopolies is you can't try it. We have the United States federal government is a monopoly, and if you try to say, you know what, let's try this someplace, and we'll try this in New York State. Well, then they'd shut you down because you can't make your own money. New York State can't make its own money.
So then we just need to have secession. That way different attempts can be made at setting up different states.
The United States federal government's going to collapse of its own poor
Can
policies.
it happen soon? Because I'm tired of waiting on that. Can we just have that happen now? When is that what is... I understand that...
You can see what's happening in Venezuela.
Sure.
This is just statism writ large.
Yeah, well, that's why it's interesting to look at Venezuela, to see how things can fail. And you could argue that inevitably the more northern socialist states will also fail at some point. Just states fail at different times in the world. That's kind of how that works. Anyway, the story from Venezuela from TheGuardian.com is that the president, Nicolas Maduro, has announced the first rise in petrol prices in 20 years and a sharp devaluation of the currency, which he said aimed to shore up the failing economy. Hard hit by falling oil prices, which make up 95% of foreign income. It's got to be tough to be reliant on just one industry.
Just one industry,
like that. Prices at the pump in Venezuela will jump as much as 6,000% for 95-octane gasoline, from 0.097 bolivars to 6 bolivars, or 1,300% for 91-octane as of Friday.
Wow.
The official exchange rate used for food and medicine imports will weaken to 10 bolivars per dollar from 6.3, while a second rate will be allowed to float. Now, let's just bring this back a little bit to explain. It's been a while since it's been 6.3 per dollar for the bolivar. And we've discussed how that has serious effects on things, because when the government sets the exchange rate like that, it ignores the marketplace. And when the marketplace isn't legally allowed to set an exchange rate, the marketplace will illegally set an exchange rate. And
exchange rates will be set.
Right. So there has been this official exchange rate of 6.3 to 1, which is now 10 to 1. And by the way, that was after they launched the strong bolivar. So there was the regular bolivar in the past, like something like 15 years ago, and then they launched the strong bolivar. So we're already on a super inflated bolivar. And now the statistics have been saying, like, not the government statistics, but people who are paying attention to the economy in Venezuela are saying it's like 700 to 800% inflation in Venezuela. And so what that results in is the real black market exchange rate of 1 bolivar compared to like 6.3 bolivars. That's the official, or was the official exchange. The black market one is like 1 to 700. 1 to 600 to 700 or somewhere in that range.
You can't get around the marketplace. The marketplace will set an exchange rate.
So now they're finally adjusting the official state exchange rate to 10 to 1. And he's saying that this is going to somehow solve things. The socialist government's announced Wednesday revealed some of the free market reforms that analysts have been clamoring for in the oil-dependent nation, although critics say they don't go far enough to right the country's crisis-hit economy. Free market reforms in socialist Venezuela? Somehow I doubt that whatever the proposals are here are in any way free market. Because if we're talking about the government arbitrarily deciding that the price of petrol or whatever should go up, that's not a free market reform. And the government arbitrarily deciding to change the exchange rate isn't a free market reform. So let's see here. Maduro said in a, imagine this, 5-hour televised speech.
God, his voice must have been cracking by the end. Hey, this is a filibuster.
Now, how many people actually will sit through a 5-hour speech from a politician?
People that would die if they were left the room.
The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We'll talk more about the so-called reforms here in Venezuela. Is it going to do anything to save the country from this economic crisis, or is it too little too late, or nothing too late? 855-450-FREE. Hour number 3 is on the way. You can join us as well on Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Friday, gold is down $1 at $1,231 per ounce. Silver is even at $15.43 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $420 US. Robertson Roberts is your source for physical precious metals since 1977. If all your investments are in paper promises, we should probably talk. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the New Hampshire Liberty Forum in Manchester, New Hampshire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,226 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $439. Antiwar.com reports a heretofore mostly unknown Kurdish faction calling itself the Kurdistan Freedom Falcons, TAK, is claiming the credit for the Wednesday bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara, saying it was revenge for Turkish attacks on the Kurdish city of Cizre. Not much is known about the TAK at this point, but it is describing itself as a splinter group from the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, the primary Turkish Kurdistan faction against which the Turkish government is waging a war that spans most of the nation's southeast. The only previous TAK incident to get any sort of public attention was in December, when the group claimed credit for a mortar attack against the Istanbul airport, a strike which killed a single civilian employee. Turkey, however, blamed the Ankara bombing on the Syrian Kurdish faction, the YPG, and used it as a pretext for further attacks against northern Syria, along with a new round of demands that its allies sever all ties with Syria's Kurds.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump rolled to victory on Saturday in South Carolina in a contest that saw former Florida Governor Jeb Bush drop out of the race, while Democratic hopeful Hillary Clinton beat back against a strong challenge from Bernie Sanders in Nevada. The victories by Trump and Clinton solidified their positions as the frontrunners to win their parties' respective presidential nominations ahead of the November 8th elections. Bush suffered a distant fourth-place finish in the Republican contest and announced he had suspended his campaign, ending his dream of becoming a third Bush president after his father and his brother. By winning both South Carolina and New Hampshire and holding leads in the 11 states that vote on March 1st, Trump was arguably on track to win the nomination, an outcome that seemed astounding to contemplate when he got into the race late last summer. He easily defeated Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who were in a close fight for second and the right to declare themselves the anti-Trump alternative. Meanwhile, Clinton's victory in the Nevada Democratic Caucus could help calm Democratic Party worries about the strength of her campaign. Her win denied Sanders the breakthrough win he had sought in a state with a heavy minority population, but his ability to close a one-time double-digit polling lead for Clinton suggests the Democratic nominating race will be long and hard-fought.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports President Barack Obama urged a group of Democrat governors to allow citizens to participate in democracy, quote, the way our founding fathers intended, unquote, by making voting as easy as possible. While speaking at the Democratic Governors Association meeting on Friday, the president said he would focus this year on protecting the right to vote. Obama said the job of our democracy is to make it easier, not make it harder for our citizens to be able to vote, and we need to be modernizing voting to reflect the way that people live today. Obama cited a law in his home state of Illinois that will go into effect this year and expand early voting, allowing voters to register and vote on Election Day. Obama said this is about more than just creating economic opportunity. It's about preserving the rights and opportunities of generations of Americans that have fought so hard to secure and broaden our democracy. It's about making democracy as good as it can be. He also praised the adoption of automatic voter registration in Oregon and California as examples of changing the voting process to reflect a modern way of life. He said in Oregon alone, they're hoping to register 300,000 voters this year, and so I'd encourage your steps to take a look at the proposal that they've put forward. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Congressman Hanford, you're married, 2 beautiful children, and yet you texted nude photographs to a 23-year-old staffer. Why did you do it?
I wanted her to see my penis. I was hoping the penis photo would arouse her sexually, that she might think, that's a nice penis. I will respond with an offer to have sex with the penis, or maybe send a photo of my breasts. I would like that. And that's what I was hoping would happen.
Here's what intrigues so many people. Why would a promising, successful politician take such a big risk?
I knew I could let down my family, destroy my marriage, and damage the country that I love, but on the other hand, if there's even the small chance of getting off at any time, you gotta take it.
The big question. Do you plan to resign?
No, I'm very good at my job. Plus, it's a lot harder to get women to have sex with you when you're not a congressman.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 of the live Sunday edition of the program. Joining you tonight is Ian.
And Mark.
And Mark, you've got your Avengers shirt on. One of your Avengers shirts on tonight. I heard you saw the Deadpool movie, and I've heard a lot of people raving about it.
I'm going to call it a 4.5. I believe the Deadpool, out of 5, the Deadpool movie is, if you have any kind of attachment to this movie, this franchise, you should definitely go see it.
I have never heard of Deadpool before the movie.
I wonder
see it anyway?
What it would be like for you. I just I don't live in your world, Ian. Like you're slightly younger than I am. You're about 10 years younger. Transformers.
Not a comic book guy.
You're right. Transformers were your thing.
Yeah.
For me, a Marvel Comics was the thing. Now,
I've enjoyed the Marvel movies that I've seen.
I don't know much of anything about Deadpool because he came out in the 90s and it was just never a thing for me.
You were in prison at the time.
Yeah, it was, in fact, it was really, really great. I think you would enjoy it. I think anybody would enjoy it. Do not take your children to this movie.
Why not? What's wrong with this movie?
It is a full-on R-rated movie. You're going to have to explain to them why the nice man and the nice woman are naked wrestling. You're going to.
Is it like full frontal nudity or like pretty close?
Yep, they're doing it, dude. They're doing it. They're naked and doing it. Okay. Yes. This is an adult movie. Do not mistake this. It could have slipped into the NC-17 rating. Okay?
Like you're not talking about like softcore. You're talking about
they cuss constantly. It is softcore. There's not a vagiscope up in there, a speculum, right? And then you have to explain what a nudie bar is, and this is what I think would be the hardest thing to explain to my son.
A strip club?
A strip club.
Why would that be so hard?
Well, try to explain it. Explain it to me. Explain it to a kid right now.
All right. Well, son, there's a certain place that lonely men go to because they want to talk to a woman who normally they don't spend time, doing that kind of thing.
Why do they have their clothes off?
Well, because men like to see women with their clothes off, son. That's just how things are.
Why do men like to see their women with their clothes off?
Well, women like to see men with their clothes off, and some men like to see men with their clothes off, and some women like to see women with their clothes off.
Do you want to take Jack to this movie? We could take Uncle Ian and Jack to the movie.
No,
right? Because this is not a movie for kids. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been warned.
Look, there's nothing wrong with taking your clothes off, kid.
No, there's nothing. No.
People will think there's something wrong with it.
My son
people
sees
want
people
to see,
take their clothes off.
People want to see others with their clothes off, but they also conversely have a very strange aversion to taking their own clothes off. So there's a strange paradox there, son. Have I gone beyond a 5-year-old? Because he's actually almost 8 years old, right?
Right.
Toll-free numbers.
I don't think any of it I don't, even as a, what I would consider myself about as liberal as parents come, and I don't particularly want to explain to my son what a strip club is. Why do men give money to women to take their clothes off? It's just this isn't something I want to cement in his ideas having any sort of level of normality.
Well, at some point he's going to learn what a strip club is.
I'm clear on that.
Well, okay, so would you just prefer to not be there?
Imagine what goes on a strip club before he sees
learns it?
What goes on in a strip club.
So you want him to go into a strip club at some point in his life, not understanding what it is, or just like you're hoping he'll eventually figure it out on his own?
I'm not hoping anything. Look, dude, I grew up on, where I grew up. There's a strip club at the end of the street.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know where you grew up. I know you grew up somewhere in East Bradenton.
No, that was where that's where my house was. But my grandmother's house was right there on
heart of Bradenton?
14th Street. You know where the Peekaboo Lounge is?
I've been by it a few times. I didn't live up that way.
That thing was it's been there for decades.
It's still
and decades
there, huh?
and
Is it still there?
I think it is.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not.
Is it full nude? No, that was only topless, right? Peekaboo?
I was in there one time as an adult.
I've never been to a strip club.
I went by it, and sometimes on our bikes we go around back and see if like the door would swing open as we were going by.
That's a great story. I wonder how many teenage boys or young boys. Were you young or teenage at that time?
I'm teenage.
Okay, I wonder how many boys have that same story of like creeping around the strip club or the XXX store.
We would generally ride our bikes by just a little slowly, just to see if the door
as
would
slowly
be open.
as possible. I would imagine.
Not like to the point you were falling off. We were scared of getting yelled at. I think.
Sure.
But right next door was Pirates Cove, the video game place.
Yeah, that place was cool.
So
now I know where it is.
We would cut throughs to avoid getting on the major road. We just sort of stay through parking lots and stuff like that. Real nice area. Pawn shop, strip club. Kids video game place.
Well, can you explain to your son what the video game place is? I mean, why is it harder to explain the strip club than it is, let's say, or is it any harder to explain the video game place?
Do you think that men should give money to women to get naked and dance around? I mean, don't you think it's
I don't think they
pathetic?
should. Yeah, personally, I've never been to a strip club.
Do you want to explain pathetic behavior to your child?
Well, maybe they don't see it as pathetic. I mean, that's your interpretation.
That's what I'm afraid of, that he doesn't see it as pathetic.
I mean, if you think about it, there are lonely people in the world, and this is one way for those people to be less lonely. A lot of strippers will tell you.
That's not what lonely is. There's lots of places for you to go talk to people. You've got lonely and horny confused.
No, I don't think I do, because I've known a few strippers, and they will tell you that a lot of those guys are going in there just to talk to you. Yes, they are also wanting to see you naked. But so I think there's probably different people that are attending. Hold on. I think there is different, having never been and only just having talked to strippers, okay, so this is where my expertise on this is coming from. There's different kinds of people that'll go to a strip club. There's the lecherous type of person who's looking to hire the stripper for sex later on. That person goes to a strip club.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Oh, yes, they will. If they know the person is a high dollar, high player, kind of big money player, they're absolutely going to get in touch with that person later on if they want to. Not all strippers will do this, but some will, and they'll find them.
I suppose that's true.
So that kind of person comes into the strip club. There's of course the party that comes into the strip club, like a bachelor party or whatever. They're whooping it up and throwing money. So there's those kind of people. But then there's also the lonely guy. And the strippers will tell you these guys will hire them to sit and talk. Not even necessarily to grind on their crotch with a lap dance or whatever. They'll do that. I'm sure some of them will do that too. But some of them just want to talk to a girl. It's sort of like the snuggling thing,
They
like
want to talk to an attractive girl who doesn't have very many clothes on. You can go find places where you can go talk to somebody. You can find places where you can go talk to a woman. You can find places where you can go talk to a young woman if that's what you wish to do. You want to talk to a young woman with this tantalizing
where are the places
sex
that you can
going on.
Wait a minute. But where are the places? Okay, so you mean like a bar would be a place where you could go talk to a woman?
I'm sure
generally?
you can go talk to a young woman at church. There's plenty of churches where you can go chit-chat with people.
Yeah.
There's lots of
But in this
social
case, you're
clubs.
paying for their time. Okay, and that's
you're
different
paying
than going
a lot
to the church.
for their time.
Yeah.
You'd be far better off paying for a psychiatrist at the rates that they pay these women.
Okay. Toll-free numbers 855-450-FREE. I'm just telling you that there are different reasons why people go into a strip club, and you could explain those things to your son. I mean, how old he would have to be to really understand it, I think, is really the only question.
Yeah, I just have no interest in it.
So you're just going to let it happen. You're going to let him figure out what a strip club is all on his own.
I think we can have a conversation with it about it sometime later. But at this point, he has no clue, and I don't see any particular reason to tell him.
Do you screen your son's movies before you show them to him?
The only movies, okay, so I was willing to show him 300, which is
very violent film.
A very violent film, because it has some historical attachments, right? It's loosely based on the story of Thermopylae, and we've talked about King Leonidas, and my son considers King, as I do, a very important historical figure. Or Leonidas, however you folks pronounce it, whatever your preference is. So we've talked about him a great deal. He wants to see that movie. My wife nixed that one.
Wait, which one did he? Wait,
she nixed 300.
Oh, I thought you said you did show him 300. Gotcha.
No, I wanted to show him 300. Okay. She nixed it.
Got it.
Other than that, that's the only one. Other than Deadpool, those are the only movies that so far we've nixed.
But you don't see them beforehand, right? So you just sort of read about the movie and then decide whether or not you want to go with him. You don't screen the movie first and then bring him in to see it?
I generally don't. I haven't been that concerned with it. Yeah. People were very clear that you shouldn't take your kids to
see Deadpool.
And I am with those people. You should not take your kid to see Deadpool.
All right, toll-free number 855-450-FREE. We'll get back to Venezuela and the economy down there. Are these last-minute changes going to pull it out of its economic difficulties? We'll tell you about it. And you can share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
Pop quiz for all business owners. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business, which one of these can you lose? Your home, your car, or your life savings? The answer? All three. Because if you're not incorporated, it's not just your business that can be sued, it's you too. Which means you could lose everything. Once business owners realize the risk of not being incorporated, they usually scramble to incorporate or form an LLC. To make it quick and easy, Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners, so you can incorporate it in just 10 minutes. For your free 10-minute incorporation guide, call now. 1-800-915-1027. Protect your financial future. At Incorporate.com, they don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. Call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide. 1-800-915-1027. Hurry while supplies last. 1-800-915-1027. That's 1-800-915-1027.
Hi there, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and we're looking in this time of terrible financial crash, terrible meltdown of the medical system, we're looking to pay people obscene amounts of money if you become a student of our business at Youngevity. We will help you actually take care of people better than the medical system has. Think about it. We spend more money in America for health care than all the other 218 nations the world put together, and they can't even solve weight loss problems. I mean, the medical system can have a total mental brain fart, and if you do this, you will be able to save an enormous amount of people from being overweight, being obese. They don't even know what causes obesity. Believe me, we know what causes obesity. In the medical system, they think it's from eating too much. It's not from eating too much. It's actually a mineral deficiency. Do you solve a iron deficiency anemia with a bone marrow transplant? That's what they think. Do you solve a mineral deficiency that causes obesity with a gastric bypass? That's dumber than a stump. Contact us at gcnminerals.com. Learn how to lose weight, look good, and save yourselves a gob of money.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box, so it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We're talking about, or we're going to continue to discuss, the Venezuelan economic disaster that they're making some changes. They're adjusting the exchange rate of the bolivar to the dollar. It was 6.3. It's now 10. Is that going to make a difference? And we'll get into that. But first, Mark, tell me about how you can make forget about dollars and buy things cheaper through SaveItPurse.com.
Well, dollars are money, and you can save money by making your purchases at SaveItPurse.com. Now, what SaveItPurse.com is it's a way to use Amazon with other people to work together to get products that are cheaper. Let me explain how it works. You have Bitcoin. That's the trick. That's the catch. You need to have Bitcoin to get all these things, but you get huge savings. You get 30% is a relatively common thing that you can save there. 30% off. And what you do is you offer, this is the item I want. You say, this is the item I want. And you offer the item at a 30% savings. Somebody comes along, they buy that item for you, they ship it to you, and then you release the Bitcoin to them. It's a great system, and it's a great way to save money. Amazon has most of the things that you buy in order to live. Obviously, you can't pay your power bill there. You can't buy fresh produce generally on Amazon. But other than that, you're pretty much talking about you can get meats through there. You can get, certainly cereals. You can get paper towels and toilet paper, and just about everything you need. You can now get it at a 30% savings. Go check it out and see what kind of savings you can have for your life. And may have a raise for yourself. Make yourself more money by saving. It's not what you spend. It's not what you earn. It's what you spend. SaveAtPurse.com.
I gotta say though, it had been working at 50% for me for a while, but the 50% ones I put on a couple of weeks, like a week ago or so, have not gone for no one's bought them yet.
Competition, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lower my rate to like 40%, see if someone will bite. Anyway, it's still great. Even if all you get is 20% off, it's still awesome because it's 20% off of Amazon's amazingly low prices already. So try it out over at SaveItPurse.com. As we go to the phones here, actually go to Skype, where Armed Truth is on the line with us. Armed Truth, you're on Free Talk Live, calling from California.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I actually wanted to call regarding the Apple situation.
Apple versus the FBI, where the FBI is demanding, or actually a court specifically on behalf of the FBI, is demanding that Apple crack into the encrypted phone of the shooter from the December shootings in San Bernardino.
Yeah, exactly. And, they were talking, Apple came out and said they're not going to give FBI the back door, to create it for the device, but...
Are you in an airplane right now?
Can you hear? Sorry, I'm driving. I'm in a really bad spot right now.
I see. It's just a little noisy in the background. Anyway, go ahead. Oh, he's gone. I don't know where he was going with that.
Neither.
Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Generally a bad idea to call when you're in a bad spot. But, you know.
You don't
that's just
always
how it
know.
goes. Yeah, sometimes. Well, but if you know it's a bad he probably knew enough to know that area was a bad spot. Like there's certain spot on the highway I know.
90% of the driving you do is in an area that you're familiar with.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's true.
All right, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, you can bring up anything. So we were discussing the big changes in Venezuela with Presidente Nicolas Maduro announcing the first rise in petrol prices in 20 years. Now, 20 years between the last time and now, that's a long time for someone to not adjust a price, to not adjust the price of a product in a marketplace in 20 years. How many companies would ever do something like that?
Of course, I can't imagine too many, but there's probably some products out there that the price hasn't been adjusted on in 20 years.
I imagine it'd be a short list.
Yep.
I mean, given that you're always adjusting prices based on the inputs, for instance, what it costs, what the labor cost is, the cost of the materials that go into the product.
Democratic socialists, which is what Bernie Sanders claims to be, would claim that they don't believe in price controls. Maybe the minimum wage. The minimum wage certainly is a price control.
Okay.
But they don't generally believe in price controls. They just believe in providing, basic services. So, for instance, they wouldn't tell the marketplace what to charge for medical services. They would just have the government pay for those medical services, if that makes sense.
But then what if people... So you're saying that even if the prices of the medical services went up, the government wouldn't try to stop them from doing that under that particular plan?
Well, the claim would be that the prices would have to go up if they have to go up, but if one actor attempts to raise the prices, then the other actors in the marketplace would disallow it because there would be competition in the area of supply.
But wouldn't Bernie Sanders want a one-size-fits-all government system to provide the health care?
Generally the way these things go after they're implemented, but before they're implemented, you get all kinds of lies.
Gotcha. So, right. So you're not saying – so what you're saying is that Bernie Sanders is lying in order to get elected than to implement more socialist policies.
I think he probably doesn't know what it would look like if implemented here in the United States, but then he looks around the world and sees some of the advantages to some of the single-payer systems in different places. There's all kinds of different government healthcare systems in sort of the industrialized countries. The United States is arguably, in some ways, the worst, but – you can't claim that the United States had some kind of free market in healthcare prior to the intervention of Obamacare.
So anyway, in addition to raising the price of the gasoline by 6,000+%, taking it from 0.097 bolivars to 6 bolivars, and by the way, they also raised up they increased the exchange rate from 6.3 bolivars to $1 to 10 bolivars to $1, which as a percentage of 6.3, that's a pretty big increase from that perspective, going from 6.3 to 10. It's like a 50% increase there, roughly a little bit over that. But it's still not really significant if you compare it to the black market rate, which the last we heard was around 700 to 1. So this is nothing. This changes. This changes nothing except for
it's going to make no difference.
At least the exchange rate changes nothing. As far as the gasoline price change, they are saying here that TheGuardian.com does say that apparently it would still make Venezuela's gas the cheapest in the world. The socialist government's announcement revealed some of the so-called free market reforms. Maduro gave a 5-hour televised speech calling it this is a necessary measure, a necessary action to balance things. I take responsibility for it, he said in the speech in which he announced the measures.
Did the little bird that he talks to tell him to do this? Isn't that how he speaks with
old Presidente Hugo Chavez?
Chavez is channeled through the bird,
right? Sort of like how Eleanor Roosevelt used to do that with who was the dead person?
Too?
Who was the dead person that talked to her through a bird?
I don't know anything about Eleanor Roosevelt talking to dead
people.
Check
that out for me because I'm pretty sure that that was a thing. Anyway, Maduro said the new fuel prices would help support social programs such as housing, health services, and education, which had won his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, a broad following when he set the country on a socialist path 17 years ago. By the way, Maduro doesn't have the same following. A lot of people are getting kind of sick and tired of what's happening there, and although he hasn't been voted out yet, there has been a changeover in sort of the representatives, or I forget what they're called over there. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live, and you can also bring up anything that you want on the live Sunday edition with Ian and Mark.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
So what would you imagine how long this body was sitting there for? A matter of weeks? Months?
Probably months.
Months.
There were about 25 or 30 dead cats in the house.
Oh, my goodness.
It was not a pretty scene. Literally, it was from the floor to the ceiling. This person had put newspapers and magazines, Life magazines, going back probably to day one, and Geographic going back into the previous century, and food boxes that were, ancient. And she had lived through a tunnel that basically connected her bedroom area to a bathroom.
What about the kitchen? Did she not prepare food?
She kept food in the bedroom and then had a...
That's nice.
I guess she used her window to get in and out. That's the best we could figure out.
Wow. Yeah, this is no problem that a good coat of fire wouldn't fix.
Free Talk Live. 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into their rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait now. Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
All right, it's Free Talk Live. I don't know where I got the idea that it was Eleanor Roosevelt who was communicating with a bird. I can't find it, so I got to retract that statement. But I did find this story from WND.com. Now, let's be clear, this is clearly a biased website. It's kind of a righty site. Just making sure everyone knows that. Joe Kovacs writes, did U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton communicate with the dead spirit of former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt just this week? This was back in 2012. If you believe her husband, Bill Clinton, the answer would be yes. On Wednesday, Mr. Clinton appeared in New York City at a dedication ceremony for the Franklin D. Roosevelt Four Freedoms Park. In his remarks, the former president said that his wife was, quote, known to commune, unquote, with Eleanor Roosevelt, who died in 1962, and that Roosevelt gave Hillary a message for him this week. So maybe that's where I got the Roosevelt communicating with the dead thing from, that it was Hillary who apparently, allegedly, has been communicating with Eleanor Roosevelt posthumously.
I find it difficult to imagine that Bill was saying this sort of seriously, that she's communing with Roosevelt. I mean, like, I say all kinds of silly things about my wife, and the crap she has to put up with is, no woman should have to suffer through. But
well, let me give you the full statement then,
right,
because they do actually give you more context here, and so kudos to them for actually just not giving you the statement completely out of context. Here's what Bill Clinton fully said, quote, a special thanks to the members of the Roosevelt family who are here and the one who is not, Eleanor, who made sure that the four freedoms were included in the preamble to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. I believe that's the UN declaration that he's referring to there. Going on, he said, I know that because, as all of you famously learned when I served as president, my wife, now the Secretary of State, was known to commune with Eleanor on a regular basis. And so she called me last night on her way home from Peru to remind me to say that Eleanor had talked to her and reminded her that I should say that. Now, that sounds a lot like she's talking with Eleanor Roosevelt from the dead.
Sounds like that.
Right? Yeah. Let's continue here with your calls and thoughts. We'll get back into Venezuela's economic changes. We got Rob. He's on the line in Lynchburg, listening to WLNI FM. Hey, Rob.
I love your show because it's like the Seinfeld of radio. It's not about anything.
Well,
the Deadpool review was great. No, you're about freedom and you have themes, but you just go everywhere.
Yes.
We're talking about strippers for 20 minutes.
We will go everywhere on Free Talk Live. That's true.
And you never agree. A lot of talk radio is criticized because people, you're a mind-numbed robot. People just gravitate to the type of show that validates their point of view.
Sure.
But you two always argue. There's never a single point of view. It's great.
It's one of the critiques of Free Talk Live from an advertising standpoint is that we can't send, we can't just, tell you our mind-numbed, automatons to go do things. So the endorsement aspect is confusing for some advertisers.
Ooh,
because
yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
We expect our listeners to think for themselves and to come to their own conclusions when presented with facts. And I like facts as much as I can find them. But, so that's an argument.
Yeah, but if one of you said, Cool Whip is great, I guarantee you the other one would be like, no, it's not, and let me tell you 25
Well, I mean, we don't disagree on everything, but
it
certainly stands out when we do disagree. It's more noticeable when that does happen.
It's more interesting to talk about, too, if we just agree that Cool Whip's... Do you like Cool Whip?
I'm no fan.
Disgusting stuff. No,
I would never purchase Cool Whip. I wouldn't be offended if I found it on something.
I like whipped cream, but
is
that
it different from whipped cream? Is it not whipped cream?
It's a whipped dairy product or something like
that.
So
there's no cream in Cool Whip?
Look, I'm not here to speak on the ingredients.
Okay, then I'm sorry. I presumed Cool Whip was whipped cream. So
people call it that.
Okay, if it's not whipped cream, then I have no opinion about it. I probably wouldn't like it then. I don't really even know what that is then.
Okay.
I haven't had
whipped
Cool Whip.
Whipped cream's awesome, and who doesn't like that stuff on their desserts?
Yeah, I was thinking of whipped cream. I can't even tell you what Cool Whip tastes like then because I haven't had it ever.
My grandmother put it
on
all kinds of things.
Okay.
All
right. Rob, what were you really calling about?
I'm sorry. Just love your show.
No, thanks. I appreciate that.
I called about the Apple deal. And I hear conflicting sides of that. I hear even mainstream conservative people like Sean Hannity. Why is Apple being so bad? They're not letting them fight terrorists. And then people like Rush Limbaugh say, hey, I'm an Apple guy. I've looked at the blogs. It's a scam. The FBI is not asking for the information off the phone. They're asking for the key to everyone's safe. They're asking for Apple to degrade.
So you're saying there's actually disagreement within the conservative talk radio community about this issue?
Oh, yes, and
interesting.
It's not really a partisan issue. I wouldn't think. I mean, Apple's about as liberal as you can get. And Rush Limbaugh is about as conservative as you can get. He's on their side and a big fan of their product.
Interesting.
I don't see how that's. But I was just wondering, do you guys know the actual technical? I mean, I don't think the Apple people are lying. I mean, I think they know their product. I think if the FBI said, break into this phone and then bring us a file of all the information, this thing would be over tomorrow.
I don't think so. Well, first of all, the court has said you need to crack this. And that's what the current state is, where there's a court order from a judge saying you need to crack this. Apple's saying we can't.
Right. And I've heard, that's why I'm asking, maybe you guys would know because you're such freedom advocates. I don't know the technical part. I've heard there was a search warrant, and that's not true. There's a court order, which is, because I've heard other talk radio people.
That's what a warrant is, by the way. A warrant is a court order to search a place generally. In this case, this is a court order to specifically order Apple to program a backdoor into a future version of the operating system, the iOS system that runs its cell phones. I want to believe that Apple is telling the truth when they say they can't crack their own encryption.
Well, Cato has an article here and says the real reason Apple's fighting the FBI, and it gives four important pieces of context that are necessary to see the trouble with the Apple order. And it says that this offers the government a way to make tech companies work with investigations. This is a public fight that could affect private orders from the government. The consequences of a precedent permitting this sort of coding conscription are likely to be enormous in scope. And fourth, most ominously, the effects of a win for the FBI in this case almost certainly won't be limited to smartphones.
Right, and it would turn Apple and other tech companies into essentially programming arms for the state, which is a really scary idea.
Yeah, I don't understand a judge, and again, it's not a search warrant. It's a court order citing the All Writs Act 200 years ago, which is that you can, compel businesses to help in criminal investigation. I mean, who doesn't want to get that bad Muslim guy's phone and help? I mean, of course they would. But I tend to believe that Apple's telling the truth about the technical end of it, because Apple's saying, we'll give you the information. We're just not going to open every safe. We're not going to open every phone we sell around the country. And that's my point is this smells of the general warrants that are run through the FISA court that are completely anathema to the Constitution and are against the Virginia Declaration of Rights they're specifically mentioned.
Well, right. I mean, this is clearly unconstitutional. This is, a violation of your right to privacy, amongst other things. It's also a violation of your right to run a business the way that you damn well want to and not have to be an arm of the state, an unpaid arm of the state.
If nobody stands up and questions what the government's orders are, the government's orders will soon be tyrannical. And thank God somebody's standing up and questioning, because there's far too many people that just won't ask questions.
Why can't a court, if this is just in a broad general sense, if a court can tell the head of Apple, perform the following technical things that I don't even understand as a judge, why can't a court just order a doctor to perform a surgery? Why can't a court just order you to plow these acres? I mean, that's like government compelled slavery.
Courts have done things like that. Courts have ordered, let's say, like teenagers who are sort of under parents' care, but the government's gotten involved in their relationship through, say, CPS or whatever. They've ordered parents to take their kids to have certain operations done. That's happened. Crazy.
Everything involving CPS,
But it's the courts that are that are authorizing it. Thanks for the call, Rob. I appreciate it. Good conversation. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Once you start paying attention, you find out things are much worse than you might have thought. It's Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here in the remaining moments of this live Sunday edition. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, Skype into the show. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you here tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Talking about some of the supposed economic reforms that are happening in Venezuela. Of course, the country is spiraling down pretty quickly. Inflation rate, the unofficial inflation rate's like 700%, somewhere around that range, maybe more at this point. The government has responded now. Not Hugo Chavez. He's dead. But apparently Hugo Chavez has been instructing Nicolas Maduro via a bird, maybe more than one bird. I don't know if it's the same bird that he's consulting or if it was just a random bird here and there. But he's, at the very least, a couple of times talked to, allegedly, Hugo Chavez through a bird. And so whether these reforms have come through the bird or not, we don't know at this point. But There's more here from the story from TheGuardian.com. Maduro said he hopes the new measures, which include a 6,000+% increase in gas price and also an increase in the exchange rate from 6.3 bolivars per dollar to 10 bolivars per dollar, he hopes that the measures will be, quote, understood by the people on the streets. Now, if the gas price on the streets goes up 6,000%, how many people on the streets are going to be understanding towards that?
Very few.
Yes. Now, this man is supposed to be the man of the people. This is the People's Revolution. And I think that if there are still people who support this guy, despite the fact that they have to wait in lines for things like chicken, soap, if they can even get them, if they can survive the scramble and the fracas in the actual store, the grocery store, the people fighting over the what few food items might actually remain, that finding out that in order to then get home from the store is now going to cost them 6,000 times as much, I think might be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because that's a huge price increase. Now, it may be nothing for major gas buyers. As they point out here, the petrol price from Venezuela is going to be the lowest of the entire world, even at these new rates. But that's not going to matter to the people in the streets, is it?
Probably not.
So already things are pretty bad for them. Anyway, he goes on, alluding to the 1989 wave of violence known as the Caracazo that left hundreds dead, which was sparked by a rise in fuel prices.
I see.
So, yeah, Maduro also announced a 20% increase to the country's minimum wage. Oh, don't worry about this gas price increase. We'll raise your minimum wages by 20%, so you don't have to worry about that.
If gas prices are sufficiently low, then a 20% increase in a sufficiently high minimum wage would make that difference.
But even with the rises, Venezuela's petrol will still be the cheapest in the world, allowing Venezuelans to fill their tanks with a high-octane gasoline for the equivalent of the price of 3 beers. Wall Street analysts previously said Venezuela needed a sharp currency devaluation, spending cuts, and a rise in fuel and electricity prices to avoid further economic meltdown. But local analysts say the changes announced by Maduro have not gone far enough. Analyst Luis Vicente Leon said the measures were akin to, quote, putting truffle salt on a rotten steak. Unquote. Leon said on Twitter that the government would have to constantly adjust the fuel prices so the impact wouldn't be pulverized by inflation, which in 2015, now they're going to give you a number here, 140%. That's the government's official rate. The unofficial rate of inflation is much higher, around 700 or 800%. He added that the changes to the exchange rate system did not seem to represent a fundamental change. Quote, we'll have to wait and see the implementation, but it doesn't seem to be enough, he tweeted. Yes, what you really need to do is get rid of the government exchange rate if you want to help solve the country's problems, which I don't know if this guy really wants to help or if he just wants to milk it for as much as he can before it goes down in flames and he runs.
I think they believe this stuff.
And he runs off to hide in some other nation.
But I will agree that at this point, just about anybody can see the handwriting on the wall. You know, Maduro has been judged and he has been found wanting. That is the handwriting on the wall, by the way.
Maduro revealed the measures by decree after the Supreme Court overturned the opposition-controlled legislature's decision not to grant him special powers. So that's what we reported on about a week or so ago. The latest update on Venezuela was that a court awarded, the Supreme Court basically of Venezuela gave him special powers. Here are your powers, Maduro. Now you are the strong presidente. Because they already took the bolivar and made the strong bolivar out of it. And what was it, a 10-to-1? Flip on that where you could turn in 10 bolivar.
Right, turn in 10 bolivar and then made it into the strong bolivar.
One strong
and then
bolivar.
Now the strong bolivar is just
it's being devalued.
Yes, just being destroyed.
It's a mess. Maduro, let's see here. The showdown with the opposition, which has held a majority in the National Assembly since January, for the first time in 17 years, has turned even moderates more radical. Two-time opposition presidential candidate Enrique Capriles, who is the leader of the moderate wing of the opposition, threw his support behind a possible referendum on recalling Maduro on Wednesday. He said in a tweet after Maduro's speech, quote, the constitutional time has come. Let's go for a recall, unquote. Under the Constitution, the opposition needs to collect almost 4 million signatures to force a recall referendum and then get more people to vote against him than those who voted for him in the 2013 presidential election. That's interesting because I find myself curious as to what the population of, because 4 million signatures is a lot to gather.
That's a lot of signatures, yeah. Would you want, if you were the opposing party, would you want to be put into this position? I mean, imagine
of having to gather signatures?
Not gathering signatures, Ian, of getting Maduro out. Do you think they can save this?
Oh, well,
I mean, it's like you've been pushed out of the plane already.
Yeah,
and
what
now,
do you do?
You know, this economy's gonna crash.
30 million plus people in Venezuela, 30.41 according to 2013 numbers.
I think what you could do is you could set some expectations that you could say, you know, ladies and gentlemen of Venezuela, you know, we have been, you know, the government has been completely irresponsible in the way that's been handling the economy, and it is going to take years to set right. We are going to go about doing it the right way, but understand that it's going to take you and me and everyone working hard in this economy to make it great. And you could set in place a real free market economy or something closer to a real free market economy that could then have stability. I would also recommend a money that was backed by something of value. I like Bitcoin personally, but you could very well go with a gold backed or silver backed, or they've got a petrol backed currency that's good for a gallon of gas.
The best thing they can do is cut the hell out. They should get rid of the exchange rate, the official exchange rate. Let the market set the rates, and also get rid of the currency. Just get rid of it. If people want to keep using the existing bolivars, okay, that's fine. I don't imagine that'll work out.
Stop issuing.
But yeah, just okay. Now you figure it out. Dollars, bolivars, but gold, Bitcoin, gold. Let the market decide. Get the state out of it, and then let the market fix whatever the damn problems are with the economy at that point. Because right now, one of the reasons why food doesn't come in to Venezuela is because of the official exchange rate. Because if you're a business in Venezuela, you cannot order food from providers in other countries. Mexico cannot ship pallets of food down to Venezuela because they want to get paid in dollars. And the Venezuelans can't pay in dollars because they can't acquire dollars from the banks in Venezuela. So even though there's a state exchange rate of 10-1 now, it was 6.3, they've raised it to 10, you still can't go to the bank and exchange that. You can't go and walk in and say, give me dollars. Here's 10 bolivars. I would like $1, please. No, you can't do that. That's illegal for us to give you that money. So how do I pay for the pallet full of food that I can then stock my grocery store with? Well, sorry, you're going to have to figure that out. What do you do in that case?
Gold?
Because you can't go on the black market and do it, because you can't be operating a business that's on the up and up, that's in the open, by you doing black market deals.
The gold in your country is going to go away pretty quickly at that point. You're going to have a difficult time, finding things to trade.
Right, and if you were to start doing the black market deals and you were to start advertising food, because then you could get food in. Like if you're willing to actually pay the 700 bolivars to buy the dollars on the black market, to then, or let's say you get a better deal, because if you buy more dollars, you'll get a lower price, right? It might go down to $5. If you buy a bunch of dollars, it might go down to $400 or $500 per dollar. So if you pay these exorbitant black market prices, you could get dollars. Then you could order food, but then you'd have to raise the price. You wouldn't be able to sell the food at the government mandated exchange rate, which would be a ridiculously low price, which would result, of course, in the food being blown out the door instantly by whoever shows up to buy it. So really, this exchange rate is totally screwing this country over. Basically.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. The fat lady singing.
Yeah.
By the way, the words that were written on the wall was "Mini Mini Teklan Farse." I had to look that up.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow night online between now and then over at freetalklive.com. Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the New Hampshire Liberty Forum in Manchester, New Hampshire, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,226 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $439. Antiwar.com reports a heretofore mostly unknown Kurdish faction calling itself the Kurdistan Freedom Falcons, TAK, is claiming the credit for the Wednesday bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara, saying it was revenge for Turkish attacks on the Kurdish city of Cizre. Not much is known about the TAK at this point, but it is describing itself as a splinter group from the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, the primary Turkish Kurdistan faction against which the Turkish government is waging a war that spans most of the nation's southeast. The only previous TAK incident to get any sort of public attention was in December, when the group claimed credit for a mortar attack against the Istanbul airport, a strike which killed a single civilian employee. Turkey, however, blamed the Ankara bombing on the Syrian Kurdish faction, the YPG, and used it as a pretext for further attacks against northern Syria, along with a new round of demands that its allies sever all ties with Syria's Kurds.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump rolled to victory on Saturday in South Carolina in a contest that saw former Florida Governor Jeb Bush drop out of the race, while Democratic hopeful Hillary Clinton beat back against a strong challenge from Bernie Sanders in Nevada. The victories by Trump and Clinton solidified their positions as the frontrunners to win their parties' respective presidential nominations ahead of the November 8th elections. Bush suffered a distant fourth-place finish in the Republican contest and announced he had suspended his campaign, ending his dream of becoming a third Bush president after his father and his brother. By winning both South Carolina and New Hampshire and holding leads in the 11 states that vote on March 1st, Trump was arguably on track to win the nomination, an outcome that seemed astounding to contemplate when he got into the race late last summer. He easily defeated Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who were in a close fight for second and the right to declare themselves the anti-Trump alternative. Meanwhile, Clinton's victory in the Nevada Democratic Caucus could help calm Democratic Party worries about the strength of her campaign. Her win denied Sanders the breakthrough win he had sought in a state with a heavy minority population, but his ability to close a one-time double-digit polling lead for Clinton suggests the Democratic nominating race will be long and hard-fought.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports President Barack Obama urged a group of Democrat governors to allow citizens to participate in democracy, quote, the way our founding fathers intended, unquote, by making voting as easy as possible. While speaking at the Democratic Governors Association meeting on Friday, the president said he would focus this year on protecting the right to vote. Obama said the job of our democracy is to make it easier, not make it harder for our citizens to be able to vote, and we need to be modernizing voting to reflect the way that people live today. Obama cited a law in his home state of Illinois that will go into effect this year and expand early voting, allowing voters to register and vote on Election Day. Obama said this is about more than just creating economic opportunity. It's about preserving the rights and opportunities of generations of Americans that have fought so hard to secure and broaden our democracy. It's about making democracy as good as it can be. He also praised the adoption of automatic voter registration in Oregon and California as examples of changing the voting process to reflect a modern way of life. He said in Oregon alone, they're hoping to register 300,000 voters this year, and so I'd encourage your steps to take a look at the proposal that they've put forward. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A new report released this week has found that nearly 3/4 of sleepaway campers' parents are currently using their children's time away from home to take the first steps towards filing for divorce.
With 46% of campers' moms currently staying with their sisters while they try to figure it out, and 38% of campers' dads sleeping on the living room couch and staring at the ceiling for hours before falling asleep.
Most campers are, at this precise moment, wholly unaware that their fathers are looking for temporary sublets and are experiencing a level of carefree, joyful buoyancy that experts say they will never feel again.
The majority of campers currently have, on average, 16 days until their lives come crashing down around them, at which point their parents will pick them up from camp, drive them to a restaurant, and then break the news that while they'll always be a family, they won't be living together anymore.
I love camp this year. It's so much fun. Mom sent me so many care packages. Dad even sent one. It's awesome.
This is the Onion News Network.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Well, good evening. This wonderful Sunday evening again, back with you here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. This is Will Coley broadcasting live again from our secret Liberty bunker here in the beautiful Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, along with my amazing and illustrious co-host, Davi Barker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm again broadcasting from international waters, but unlike last week, I can say that I am topside to watch the sunset tonight, and that's all I can tell you. So, how's it going, Will?
Man, it's good. I'm good. We're actually just waiting for our prospective guests tonight to queue up. We originally had some guys that were supposed to come on from the Libertarian Party of Oklahoma, along with Adam Soltani of CARE, Oklahoma. There is an event going on, I believe it's next week, where the idea is the Muslim community of Oklahoma. I hate the way that they put this. We are proud, tax-paying, law-abiding citizens, and therefore they, want access to the representatives that rule over them. So, just like any other American, they do have the right to petition those leaders if they so choose to do so. And
well, that sounds like a legal opinion. Are these legal professionals that they can say without a doubt that they're law-abiding?
I don't know.
Because I would not say that. I would not say that about myself anywhere that I might be at risk of perjuring myself, because I have no idea what the laws are and whether or not I abide by them.
Well, I don't know. I always heard if you walk through the hood, if you do something wrong, an old man will hop out of the bushes and go, "Don't do that! Don't do that! I'll get you 5 to 10."
I've never experienced that particular phenomenon.
It's a Chappelle joke. It's a joke that Dave Chappelle tells. So
cool.
So yeah, we were supposed to have them on. Basically, the Libertarian Party makes an effort last year, and then is also doing so this year,